Chapter 30:14. Haywood was shocked too. He could not believe that Yen Long dared to attack Gukara. To them, this godlike boss was inviolable. No one dared to touch a single hair of his. "Yen Long, if you kill me, my men will never let you leave alive," Gukara said. "Also, your family, your friends, and anyone related to you. My men will find them and kill them. You won't dare to do this to me. Are you kidding me? Tell me, you're already dead. Why would they still want to help you? Do you think they're idiots?" Su Yun said as he looked around. He raised his voice. "Your money has been transferred to Ti Feng. If you die, they won't get a single cent from you. Why would they risk their lives to help you? Kill me? Haha, they might be able to kill me, but I guarantee that before they can kill me, at least 20 of them will die. You can try if you don't believe me." The surroundings were dead silent. "I don't believe that anyone would be stupid enough to sacrifice themselves in exchange for a chance to get a share of the money." Su Yun smiled. "That's not right. Even if they survive, they won't get a share of the money. Your money is in Ti Feng's hands." Gukara suddenly felt a chill down his spine. He had never thought of such an outcome. It was a terrifying feeling. The consequences of being poor. Once a person had no money, they would not be able to do anything. No one would work for a pauper. Now, he had transferred the money to Ti Feng in front of everyone, and Ti Feng's fate was unknown. What did that mean? It meant that he had become a pauper with nothing. Who would work for a pauper? Not to mention risking their lives for a pauper. This was simply a fantasy. Gukara saw some clues from Haywood's expression. Haywood's mentality had changed drastically. He no longer treated Gukara as a boss. How could a pauper with no money be a boss? Only then did Gukara realize that he had been tricked by this guy. "I have other accounts," Gukara suddenly shouted. He said this to make his men treat him as the god of wealth. Su Yun said disdainfully, "Who are you trying to fool? Who would be stupid enough to tell someone that he still had money when a gun was pointed at his head? Isn't that just looking for trouble for yourself? If you have money, take it out and continue to transfer the money." Gukara was once again rendered speechless by Su Yun's words. "Bro, stop pretending. If you don't have money, then you don't have money. It's not embarrassing," Su Yun said. "But if you pretend to be rich in front of others, then it's a bit embarrassing. I've given you the money. You should at least give me an explanation now." Gukara was already feeling guilty. Su Yun nodded. "I do want to give you an explanation. I want to see how many of your subordinates are still loyal to you if I kill you now." Gukara's face turned green. "Maybe they're not loyal to you, but to your dollar bills." Su Yun shook his head helplessly. "Why should people be loyal to you if they don't have US dollars?" After saying this, Su Yun pulled the trigger without hesitation. The bullet pierced through Gukara's forehead. Su Yun did not hesitate at all. It was as if he had just done something very simple. The scene was silent. No one could believe that the great Gukara would be shot in the head in such a situation. He did not even have a chance to retaliate. Su Yun did not want to settle this peacefully after he walked out. He had already decided to take action. Now that he had the chance, why should he wait? In such a situation, every minute of waiting meant an extra minute of danger. Who knew what would happen in the next second? Gukara might even confuse his subordinates with a few words. By then, Su Yun would have no chance at all. It was said that a dragon without a leader was still a worm, let alone these armed mercenaries. When the person who paid them their salary died, what was the point of them working for him? "If you think it's necessary to fight me, I don't mind," Su Yun said, "but I can give you a better suggestion. See if there's anything valuable left. Whoever gets it first will get it. After all, every bullet and gun here is your boss' legacy. Whoever did not take more would be an idiot." For a moment, everyone was in an uproar. Wasting time on fighting would not earn them any money. If they had the time, they might as well form an alliance with a few people and take the firearms in the armory for themselves. That way, they could at least sell them for a lot of money. There were also cars here. These were all money. Whoever could take it first would get it. No one was an idiot. They all quietly prepared to fight for the resources. Seeing that the situation had worsened, Highwood did not dare to move. Suyun's gun was still aimed at him. Now, should we turn big things into small things, and small things into nothing? Haywood asked cautiously, there's no longer any beneficial relationship between us. Can I leave as well? There's no point in keeping you, Suyun said, but I still have something I need you to do in exchange for your life. Highwood's face was gloomy. Speak. Give me the car keys, Suyun said. I also need a leg. If you don't agree, I can only take it by force. Highwood gritted his teeth. He took out the car keys from his pocket and threw them at Suyun. Suyun caught the keys in the air and smiled. Thanks. Can I leave now? Highwood said with a gloomy face. Suyun thought for a moment and shook his head. Brother, how did you humiliate me in the dungeon just now? Yen Long, you went back on your word. Highwood flew into a rage out of humiliation. What's the rush? You're already angry. Suyun said, I didn't say I wouldn't let you go. It's just that it's not certain if your brothers will let you go. Highwood knew that Suyun must have a plan. He made up his mind. What else do you want? I heard you've made a lot of money over the years. Transfer the money to T Feng's account. Suyun said, you'll continue in this line of work in the future. You don't have to worry about money, but T Feng won't be in this line of work anymore. He needs some money for his retirement. Highwood gritted his teeth. I've already transferred over $100 million to him. Isn't that enough? This money isn't for him to spend. Suyun chuckled. She couldn't be bothered to explain to Haywood about T Feng's donation to the children with leukemia. If you're going to be so wishy-washy, then there's nothing left for us to talk about. You. The flesh on Highwood's face trembled. This was really too much. Suyun pouted. Hurry up. I still have things to do. Highwood had no choice but to do as Suyun said. After everything was done, the people at the scene began to split up. Because of the snatching of the remaining wealth, small-scale conflicts had already occurred. From small-scale scuffles, the matter quickly evolved into a showdown of bullets. A man who was never content was like a snake trying to swallow an elephant. Less than a third of the people here would survive today. At this moment, Suyun had already driven Hellwood's car and was on the road to leave. At this moment, the unconscious T Feng in the dungeon was also safe. No one would go to the dungeon at this time because there was nothing valuable there. Chapter 30:15. When T Feng woke up, the sky was already bright. He had no idea what had happened outside. When he woke up, he smelled the thick smell of gunpowder. He quickly realized that something had happened. T Feng walked out of the dungeon and looked at the destroyed military base with a bitter smile. Looking at the corpses on the ground, he couldn't imagine how Suyun did it. Most likely, no one would believe that Suyun would be able to escape unscathed after doing all that. T Feng quickly saw Gukara and Haywood's corpses. They were both shot to death. Even in death, Gukara's face was filled with rage and disbelief. Haywood, on the other hand, was unwilling to accept this and died with his eyes wide open. Flame Dragon. You're really capable of doing anything. T Feng let out a long sigh. What I owe you, I've repaid. Everything that had happened last night had disrupted T Feng's plan. He suddenly lost his source of income. What would happen to the children who were still waiting for his money? T Feng could only shake his head helplessly. He simply tidied himself up. After leaving home for so many years, it was time to go back. Before deciding to go home, T Feng used the satellite phone to call home. When his wife received the call, she was so excited that she couldn't speak properly. She actually told T Feng that she thought he was dead. T Feng didn't understand why his wife said that. His wife told him that when she went to pay last month's bill, she found that his account had more than $100 million. This astronomical number made his wife unable to sleep. She didn't even dare to contact Ti Feng. This inexplicable amount of money made her very uneasy. She was very worried that something had happened to him, so she didn't dare to contact him and ask for the truth. Ti Feng was stunned. He was completely at a loss, but he quickly understood the reason behind this. Ti Feng comforted his wife and told her that he was going home. He didn't need to come out to work anymore. After hanging up, Ti Feng looked around and smiled bitterly. He muttered to himself, "Yen Long, it seems that I owe you another favor that I can't repay." Su Yun's journey was bumpy as he walked on a small road in the countryside. There were beautiful scenery, chaos, and tragedy. Every scene he saw here would be unforgettable. The journey was really long. When Su Yun returned to the gold mine in Mali, the sky was already dark. Originally, the gold mine had already received news that Su Yun would not return. He would leave this place, and the supervision of this place would return to the hands of the various towers. Less than 24 hours after the tower regained his identity as the great general, he saw Su Yun's cold face again. This made the pagodas feel as if their hearts had been ruthlessly stabbed by a knife. When Su Yun came back, all the towers were scared. He had already tidied up the room. The single room that was originally snatched away by Su Yun had already been moved into his things. How was he going to explain this to Su Yun? However, Su Yun did not intend to make things difficult for him. "Contact Wang Wan and tell him I'm back." This was the only sentence Su Yun said to the pagodas. Then Su Yun lay on the bed and fell asleep. He was really sleepy. He had not slept for 2 days and 2 nights. He slept for nearly 4 hours. It was already 11 o'clock at night. Several cars rushed into the gold mine. No one dared to stop them. They all stood at the door to welcome them. This time, Lai Wen did not wait for the driver to open the door. He took the lead and walked out of the car. Today, he received the news from Little Stutterer that Su Yun was captured by the arms dealers of the American Empire. His heart died at once. Although Su Yun did not disappoint and helped him destroy the Japanese organization, Su Yun was also lost. This made Lai Wen feel that it was not worth it. He regretted his decision all day. This was indeed his fault for taking too much risk and making this kind of decision. He should have been mentally prepared from the beginning. No one would believe that Su Yun could still come out alive. Lai Wen vented his anger on Little Stutterer. Little Stutterer was slapped many times. His face was still swollen. Facial paralysis had been persuading Lai Wen not to care too much about this matter. After all, the person was gone. For facial paralysis, Su Yun's death was not a bad thing for him. He told Lai Wen that since he could not even survive this matter, it meant that Su Yun was not a talent worthy of him to put in an important position. Lai Wen did not think so. No one would be able to survive this kind of thing. At least no one under him could do what Su Yun did. To be able to destroy the Japanese organization under that kind of situation was already an incredible task. Lai Wen could not believe his ears when he suddenly received news from the gold mine that Su Yun came back alive. He immediately rushed to the gold mine with people. Little Stutterer was so excited that he no longer stuttered. When Boss Lai came, Su Yun got up and walked out. When Lai Wen saw Su Yun, he was amazed at the reunion of life and death. He kept shaking his head and could not believe what he was seeing. "You really scared me to death," Lai Wen exclaimed. His face was full of disbelief. Su Yun smiled. "I came back a bit late and made Boss Lai worry. I'm really sorry." "Look at what you're saying. You coming back is the best answer for me." Lai Wen did not hide his joy at all. He looked back at Little Stutterer. "Didn't you say that he can't be saved? Do you know how you made me feel today? I really want to shoot you right now." Little Stutterer was so scared that he did not say a word. Su Yun waved his hand and said, "Boss Lai, you can't blame him for this. It's all my fault." "Don't blame him? How can I not blame him? Do you know what that son of a bitch said?" Lai Wen said, "He said that you can't be saved at all. I really took a risk this time. It's really possible that I can't be saved at all." Su Yun was surprised. Lai Wen was very surprised. How did you escape? I escaped after killing them. Su Yun's reply was light and indifferent, without the slightest hint of emotion. Lai Wen's mouth could not close. Killed them? The American arms dealer who made a deal with the Japanese? Killed by you? Su Yun nodded. Lai Wen's jaw almost fell to the ground. Do you know who the American arms dealer who made the deal with the Japanese is? That is the famous Black Skull. In Africa, no one doesn't know him. Su Yun was stunned. Black Skeleton? Yes. Black Skeleton, Gukara. Lai Wen said. Su Yun smiled slightly. Then he's a real skeleton now. I personally sent him on his way. This shouldn't be big news in Africa, right? Lai Wen's face turned pale. He killed Gukara with his own hands. This guy was simply a madman. Lai Wen carefully asked the interpreter what they were talking about. He could tell that something big had happened from Lai Wen's expression. When the interpreter told Lai Wen what happened, Lai Wen was so scared that he almost collapsed. Fortunately, he did not really provoke Su Yun. He only dared to think about how to deal with him. If he had really attacked Su Yun, he would have died even more miserably. Even the Black Skeleton of Africa, Gukara, died in the hands of this guy. Lai Wen did not dare to think about who else he would not dare to touch. Little Stutterer was shocked. You really killed Gukara? Su Yun nodded. If I didn't kill him, he would kill me. Now, I'm still alive. What do you think? Lai Wen was shocked. He was not wrong about this person. This was definitely a once-in-a-lifetime talent. Chapter 30:16. The next day, news of the death of Black Skeleton Gukara, the main culprit of the war in Africa, spread across the entire African continent. Many people in Africa had dealings with Black Skeleton, but no one dared to believe that it was true. However, Gukara's base had been destroyed, and all of his subordinates had turned to other subordinates. Facts were facts, and no one could change them. No one could explain what had happened. Therefore, there were many rumors. Some said that the American Empire had arranged for the special forces to wipe out Gukara, while others said that Gukara's #1 general, Ti Feng, had betrayed him. There were all kinds of rumors, but there was only one truth. Gukara had provoked someone he should not have provoked, and that was why he died with regrets. After the news of Gukara's death spread across the African continent, no one doubted Su Yun's words anymore. Other than shock, Lai Wen did not know how to describe his feelings at that moment. He had to bring Su Yun back. Leaving him in Africa was a waste of his talent. Although Su Yun would be transferred away as soon as possible, the towers no longer had their former prestige. Whenever he thought of Su Yun, he would tremble. This terrifying man had caused such a huge commotion in such a short period of time since he had arrived in Africa. The largest human trafficking organization in Africa had been destroyed, and the most terrifying arms dealer in Africa had been destroyed by the United States. If Su Yun wanted to annihilate a small mercenary group like his, it would be as easy as flipping his finger. What could the towers use to compete with him? The gap between them was like a chasm, and it was not something that could be bridged by any means. The only thing the towers could do was to stay out of trouble. In a place like this, stirring up trouble would only bring about one outcome. Lai Wen quickly settled all the preparations for returning to Africa with Su Yun. Lai Wen did not want to stay in this place for too long. After all, Su Yun had just destroyed Gukara. This was not a small matter to Lai Wen, and he did not want to be involved in any trouble. Only by taking Su Yun and leaving Africa as soon as possible could he completely cut off all ties with this matter. When Su Yun arrived at the South African airport again, he was filled with emotions. He knew that after he left this place, there would be very few opportunities for him to come back. Other than praying, Su Yun was powerless to change anything. He knew that everything he hoped for might come true one day, but in the short term, this place would still be in turmoil. The ugly big powers still covet the resources here, which means that there is no peace here. Perhaps one day, when the resources here were truly exhausted, everything would calm down. At that time, it might really be the end of Earth. Even if no one wanted that day to happen, Su Yun believed that it would happen sooner or later. The reason why so many rich people wanted to immigrate to the United States was obvious from the resources they had. The United States of America was the country that promoted environmental protection and energy conservation the loudest. Even if there were only a few potato chips left in a restaurant, they would still take them away. They only accounted for 5% of the world's population, but they consumed 50% of Earth's resources. Water, electricity, oil, paper, plastic. Each of these consumption was the highest in the world. The streetlights in the United States of America were all on during the day, but there were very few countries in Africa that had streetlights. In the United States of America, whether it was private or private, they relied on air conditioning. It was on 24 hours a day, all year round. The indoor temperature was always fixed. In the summer, it was so cold that one had to wear a jacket. In the winter, it was so hot that one had to wear a single layer of clothing. This was not unusual at all. In the United States of America, there were very few offices that would turn off the lights after work. It was common to see office buildings lit up in the middle of the night. Computers were also usually not turned off. That was how they wasted the electricity resources. There was also oil. The people in the United States of America could not live without cars. Even if it was only a 2-minute journey, they still had to drive. Most of the cars on the road only had one driver. Most of the cars in the United States were large, heavy, and consumed a lot of fuel. For them, walking was something that they had to wear sportswear, sneakers, and headphones. With such an extravagant and wasteful country, there was no need to worry about Earth's resources not drying up. The plane took off. Su Yun looked out of the window. This continent was so beautiful, but so terrible. Every foreigner who came here wore an ugly face behind their masks. They were all the same. For the sake of the resources here, they would do anything to betray humanitarianism and resort to any means to obtain it. Su Yun, what have you experienced during your time here? Lai Wen sat next to Su Yun and closed his eyes with a smile. Su Yun was silent and did not answer Lai Wen's question. He had experienced too much. He had experienced too much ugliness and too much shamelessness. Forget it, I won't ask any more. Lai Wen said, no normal person would want to return to this continent to work. I believe that you are no exception. You will like the things I arrange for you when you return to China. Su Yun glanced at Lai Wen and said, Boss Lai, can you tell me what you want me to do now? What you saw in Africa was only one side of me. In fact, I am not as evil as you think. I am a philanthropist. I invest tens of millions in charity every year. Lai Wen said, this is something that many people can't do. I admit, it is indeed something that many people can't do. Su Yun said. But Su Yun also knew that Lai Wen's charity was, to put it bluntly, using money to buy a reputation. If it were not for this reputation, he would never stand up for charity. Many things could not be seen on the surface. I need money to do charity. The money I earn from this business in Africa is barely enough to maintain my charity career. Lai Wen said, I also need to make money, I also need to live, and I also need to support so many people under me. Su Yun nodded and said, so, what business does Boss Lai want to do in Huaxia? Antique business. Lai Wen said, I am a person who likes to collect. So I have always been in the antique business in China. I remember telling Boss Lai that I won't go down to work to earn money from the dead. Su Yun said, that will easily lead to retribution. Lai Wen laughed and said, of course I won't let you do that kind of thing. That kind of thing will naturally be done by the Tomb Raider. You only need to escort my transactions on the ground. That is enough. Su Yun smiled and said, it seems that Boss Lai has encountered trouble doing this business. Speaking of this, Lai Wen gritted his teeth. There were also cases of forced buying and selling in this antique business. Sometimes, the things he did not like would be forced by people who were stronger than him. He could not refuse. And sometimes, the treasures he could sell at a high price would also be forced to sell at a low price by people who were more powerful. In this circle, although it seemed to be a civilized transaction, there were many cases of forced buying and selling. If Lai Wen had an expert who could deal with the opponent, he would also force the sale. The reason was very simple: the weak were prey to the strong. Lai Wen needed Su Yun. He needed someone who could make him speak with a straight back. With Su Yun protecting his transactions 3 to 5 times, people in the circle would know that Lai Wen had an expert around him. This way, no one would have any ideas about him. The bosses in this circle all had experts around them. Many times, in terms of benefits, whoever had a better expert would be able to make a lot of money. Chapter 30:17. Lai Wen took a deep breath. This had happened twice this year, and he was really angry in his heart. Since Boss Lai doesn't want to say, then I won't ask any more. Su Yun said lightly, but what you want me to do is something to do in Huaxia. Huaxia is not like Africa, a society ruled by law. There are some things that I may not be able to do. Su Yun's meaning was very clear. In Africa, he could destroy a group in Japan and a group in the United States, but in Huaxia, he would not kill anyone casually. Even if the people Su Yun faced were guilty and deserved to die, in Huaxia, the law was the weapon to punish them. Su Yun would only carry out this kind of task if he had the legal authorization. If there was no legal authorization, he would never do that under Lai Wen's orders. That was contempt of the law. Su Yun was a person of the country after all. He would never do things that disdain the law. I know. Lai Wen said, in fact, there are many things that need to be done. I understand all of this. I don't understand. Who dares to provoke Boss Lai? Su Yun said lightly. Lai Wen snorted. There are no masters to be trifled with in the antique world. If it weren't for the family business and the money that can't be burned, not many people would dare to enter the deep water of antique. You will know what kind of people this circle is when you come in contact with them. Then I would like to know, what kind of things does Boss Lai usually keep? Su Yun pretended to be curious and asked, is there any priceless treasure that can scare me? Lai Wen laughed. I really have a lot of treasures. But I don't know, in your eyes, what is a priceless treasure? Give me an example. For example, Qing Dong Tomb 9 Dragon Sword. Su Yun smiled slightly. Lai Wen gave a thumbs up. Qing Dong Tomb was the largest and most complete ancient imperial mausoleum in Huaxia. It built 5 imperial mausoleums such as Kongxi and Qianlong, as well as 4 imperial mausoleums such as Xi'an and Empress Dowager Cixi. During the period of the Republic of China, the warlords led by Sun Dianying used military exercises as an excuse to bring troops and explosives to rob the Qing Dong Tomb. The entire process took 7 days and 7 nights. It was an extremely bizarre process. They had used explosives to blast open the diamond wall in the tomb. When they opened the door, they found that the stone door was blocked by the coffin, which made it difficult to open. It was said that after the luminous pearl in Cixi's mouth was pulled out, Cixi's cheeks instantly turned from flat to haggard. This time, a large number of royal funerary objects were stolen from the tomb, which shocked Huaxia. Society from all walks of life issued the highest call to punish this guy, but in order to escape punishment, this guy gave away the stolen treasures to others. This guy gave the biggest Qianlong imperial pearl to Dai Li, the pearl in Cixi's mouth to Song Meiling, and the golden jade watermelon to Song Ziwen. In the end, this grandson even asked Dai Li to give the most precious 9 dragon sword to old Jiang. This time, he was completely fine. However, after Dai Li took the 9 dragons treasure sword, he gave it to his subordinate, Ma Han San, for safekeeping. In the end, Ma Han San became a traitor and the 9 dragons treasure sword fell into the hands of Kawashima Yoshiko from Japan. It was only after the victory of the war that the sword was taken back. Later, Dai Li took the sword to Nanjing to meet old Jiang. In the end, the plane crashed on Mount Tai and he died. It was said that the 9 dragons treasure sword was burned until it was incomplete. After that, the sword and Dai Li were buried together. However, some people felt that the sword was refined with fire, so it was impossible for it to be burned. It was obvious that someone made up a lie and replaced the 9 dragons treasure sword. This was the treasure sword that was buried with Emperor Qianlong. Su Yun's words shocked Lai Wen. Ha ha ha, you are really asking for a lion's share. Lai Wen said, I only know that after this national treasure was stolen out of Dongling by the warlords, it wandered around and its whereabouts were unknown. It became a historical mystery. If I am lucky enough to get it, I will definitely give it to the country. Give it to the country? Su Yun was stunned. Lai Wen nodded with a serious look. This guy really knew how to hide himself. Boss Lai, we are not bidding for the grave-digging notes, so there is no need to say such empty words. Su Yun said indifferently, if anyone were to obtain this supreme treasure, they would probably want to take it for themselves. Lai Wen shook his head. I don't have the ability to get this thing. You should talk about something that is not related to the emperor. Then, does Boss Lai have the lost murals and scriptures from Dunhuang? Su Yun asked again. This thing was also a national treasure. Lai Wen laughed. Su Yun, oh Su Yun, I said that you can joke, and you really can joke. Dunhuang murals and scriptures were lost abroad. This is something that everyone knows. Su Yun furrowed his brows. What, do you think that I don't have anything good here? Lai Wen said, but your appetite is really big. Do you have any other treasures that you are curious about? Yes. Su Yun said, is the Yenjing people's skull in your collection? Back then, when the Yenjing people's skull was found in Zukudian village in Fangshan district, it shocked the world. These discovered skulls were also kept in Yenjing. Unfortunately, when the Japanese occupied Beiping, there was a crisis. At that time, in order to protect this treasure, someone wanted to transport the skull to New York. Unexpectedly, when they arrived at Qinhuangdao, before they could step on the warship that came to receive them, they were ambushed by the Japanese. The transport plan was stopped, and the Yenjing people's skull was also missing. Obviously, it was taken by the Japanese. Actually, even if they really sent it to New York, they might not be able to get it back. Everyone knew what the American people were like. After so many years, many anthropologists were looking for the whereabouts of the skull, and they also called for people to participate. But there was still no trace of the skull. Therefore, this skull became one of the many national treasures that had been lost. You are really making things difficult for me. Lai Wen said, do you still want to ask me for the painting of Fuchen Mountain? Su Yun chuckled. Isn't the painting of Fuchen Mountain already on display? If Boss Lai also has it, then this treasure will really be a fake, haha. That's why these things you said are too mysterious. What level of treasures are these? Lai Wen said, these are not things that ordinary people can get their hands on. These are actually nothing. What I am most curious about is the water power clock that takes turns to spray water every day and night, Su Yun said calmly. When Su Yun said this, Lai Wen's expression changed. This water power clock was actually referring to the bronze statues of the 12 zodiac signs. The Anglo-French army burned down this rare architectural wonder in the history of the world, and countless treasures were plundered and lost overseas by the Anglo-French army. Now, those paintings, jewelry, Buddha statues, and even the imperial jade seals were all taken by the descendants of the Anglo-French army. Later on, after being changed hands by civilian collectors, it was difficult to find any trace of them. Even a large number of precious collections were now on display in the Fontainebleau Palace, becoming rare treasures that were openly taken. And the most precious thing was probably this beast head. If the old summer palace was not destroyed, what kind of scene would it be? No one dared to think about it, because no one could restore all of this. If Boss Lai can collect a beast head, then you can be considered a big shot in the collecting world. Su Yun's words were obviously deliberately provoking Lai Wen. Lai Wen shook his head and said calmly, if you say so, then you think too highly of me, ha ha ha. No matter what treasures Boss Lai has, I believe that after returning to China, you will definitely not be stingy to let me see your collection. Su Yun asked with a smile. Lai Wen nodded. Of course I won't be so stingy. Then I will thank Boss Lai first. Su Yun said. Lai Wen also smiled. So, you agree to work for me? Su Yun replied with a smile and did not say much. Chapter 30:18. More than a month later, Su Yun walked out of Yenjing Airport and breathed in the unique haze of Yenjing. The smell was really different. After living in that vast land for so many days, he was not used to coming back suddenly. Although the Molly Gold mine was also smoky, it did not have the strong smell of car exhaust. Lai Wen had arranged everything when he returned to the country. His subordinates were ready to pick them up at the airport. They greeted him respectfully and led the two of them to the airport. A customized Mercedes-Benz business car. Lai Wen obviously had a special liking for Mercedes-Benz. Wherever he was, there would be Mercedes-Benz. Su Yun directly got into the car with Lai Wen. The car took the two of them to the magnificent Yanjing Hotel. Lai Wen smiled. I have a social engagement as soon as I get off the plane. It must be hard for you to follow me. I will make it up to you after I am done with my work. After saying that, Lai Wen brought Su Yun to the room they had agreed on. Yanjing Hotel was a luxurious 5-star hotel. The most luxurious room was even more magnificent. A room for 15 people with an area of nearly 300 square meters. There were 8 waiters standing in the 4 directions of the room. Some were pouring red wine, some were pouring white wine, some were adding tea, and some were in charge of distributing food. It was definitely an emperor-level enjoyment. There were only 2 people sitting at the big table for 15 people. When the two of them saw Lai Wen appear, they stood up unhappily and complained, "Boss Lai, what you did today is really not right." "Yes, Boss Lai, we have been waiting for you here for almost an hour," the other person also said. Lai Wen smiled quickly. "I am really sorry about this. Boss Chi, Boss Bai, I will punish myself with 3 glasses to express my sincere apologies." Lai Wen gestured for Su Yun to sit with him. It was obvious that Lai Wen wanted to let Su Yun feel that he valued him. However, Boss Chi and Boss Bai did not understand. They were all bosses. None of them brought their subordinates in. What was the meaning of Lai Wen bringing a subordinate in? "Boss Lai, 3 glasses are not enough." Boss Chi held up his big belly and said to the waiter behind him, "Open 3 bottles of Lafite for Boss Lai. If you want to punish someone, then punish them with 3 bottles. This is called sincerity." "Ha ha ha, Mr. Chi sure knows how to joke. It's not like you don't know how much I can drink." Lai Wen quickly waved his hand. But at this time, the waiter had already opened the bottles of wine. Obviously, for these rich people, a bottle of red wine that cost tens of thousands of yuan was no different from a bottle of beer that cost a few yuan in the eyes of ordinary people. The one with the surname Bai was obviously not a good person either. He laughed and said, "Boss Lai, you've already brought people in. It's obvious that you're prepared." Su Yun knew what the other party meant and immediately said, "No matter how much the penalty is, I will bear it for the boss." "Not bad. This kid is very courageous." Of course, Mr. Chi was not convinced. "If your boss drinks it, he'll be fined 3 bottles. But you're different. You're a substitute, so you'll have to pay double. 6 bottles. Even if it's 9 bottles, it's not a problem. As long as Mr. Chi doesn't mind spending tens of thousands of yuan per bottle, I'm willing to drink it like it's spring water from a farmer." Su Yun smiled, exuding charisma. Mr. Chi couldn't stand it. He slammed the table and said, "Hey, drink as much as you can today. I'll make sure you're full." He really didn't care about this small amount of money. "I'm just joking. Don't take it seriously, Mr. Chi," Su Yun said indifferently. At this time, the 6 open bottles of Lafite were placed in front of Su Yun. "There's no such thing as joking at our table. We mean what we say," Mr. Chi said seriously. Lai Wen waved his hand and said, "All right, both of you. Give me some face. This is my brother. You're greeting him too much." Su Yun didn't say anything. He took a bottle of Lafite and drank it directly. Was he really treating a bottle of red wine that cost tens of thousands of yuan as beer? In just a few seconds, tens of thousands of yuan had gone down his stomach. Before Lai Wan could say anything, Su Yun took the second bottle and drank it again under the shocked gazes of Mr. Chi and Mr. Bai. Then, he drank the third bottle. Although it was red wine and the alcohol content wasn't as high as white wine, drinking it like this wasn't something a normal person could handle. Drinking it with 3 bottles was already giving him a lot of face. After all, They were only joking when they said that they would punish Lai Wen with 3 bottles. Lai Wen punished himself by drinking 3 glasses and it was over. Now, Su Yun really drank all 3 bottles, but he still didn't have any intention of stopping. Enough, Lai Wen said with a faint smile. In fact, he really appreciated Su Yun's way of doing things. It was a good way of doing things. He directly showed them who was the boss. However, Su Yun didn't listen to Lai Wen's words. He took the 4th bottle and said, "With my identity, if I'm not sincere, Mr. Qi will be offended." Then, wouldn't the previous bottles be wasted? Mr. Qi was stunned and didn't know what to say. By the time he finished speaking, Su Yun had already finished his 4th bottle. Lai Wen saw that Su Yun's alcohol tolerance was really high. His expression didn't change, and his heart didn't skip a beat. Lai Wen felt more confident. "Bosses, my brother is sincere enough." Lai Wen's voice was a little proud. At that moment, Su Yun finished the 5th bottle. Then, Su Yun took the 6th bottle. In front of the 2 people's eyes that almost popped out, Su Yun drank all of it. In just 2 minutes, an Audi A6 was drunk just like that. "I've done the most sincere thing for Mr. Lai. I hope you can accept it." Su Yun signaled the waiter to take away all the bottles. At that moment, they sat down. Mr. Qi and Mr. Bai didn't feel disrespected anymore because Su Yun sat at the same table with them. "Mr. Lai, where did you find this treasure?" Mr. Bai laughed. "Young people are young people. Drinking like this is fine." Lai Wen smiled bitterly. "That's because you forced me to." Then, Lai Wen said to Su Yun, "Come, Su Yun, let me introduce these 2 to you." Su Yun stood up politely. "Mr. Qi, the chairman of Sihai Rubber, Qi Sihai. Do you know that half of Hua Xia's car tires are produced by Sihai Rubber?" Lai Wen said, "In Hua Xia, he can be considered a big shot." Su Yun glanced at Qi Sihai. "Nice to meet you, Mr. Qi." Qi Sihai nodded and smiled. "This is even more incredible. The chairman of Changpeng Group, Mr. Bai Dapeng." Lai Wen said, "In the pipe industry, there are only a few people in Hua Xia who can compete with Mr. Bai." Su Yun also greeted, "Nice to meet you, Mr. Bai." "Nice to meet you," Bai Dapeng responded and asked Lai Wen, "What's the situation with your brother?" "You just need to know that my brother will work for me in the future. That's enough." Lai Wen said, "Mr. Bai, you've been talking about good stuff. Shouldn't you take it out and show it to me? Do you know that I specially flew back from Africa just for this thing of yours?" Bai Dapeng laughed. "Mr. Lai, you're joking again. How can you be interested in this thing? You'll know whether I like it or not when you take it out." Qi Sihai also urged, "If you want to increase the value, you need Mr. Lai to help you. Otherwise, it won't be worth so much in your hands. A treasure is a treasure. It's valuable no matter where it is." Bai Dapeng didn't think so and smiled mysteriously. Chapter 30:19. While talking, Bai Dapeng took out a red square box about 10 centimeters in length, width and height. Qi Sihai curiously said, "I wanted to see it just now, but he said that if Boss Lai didn't come, he wouldn't take it out. Boss Lai, I really admire him. I really don't know what kind of treasure it is to make him care so much." Lai Wen touched his chin and smiled. The 2 of them said that just to make him feel that this thing was valuable. Su Yun was also curious and wanted to know what was inside the box. Bai Dapeng slowly opened the red box, and the treasure inside finally stood out. It was a jade figurine head, about 8 or 9 centimeters tall and 4 or 5 centimeters wide. The jade was green and white, and the head was complete. The 2 eyes were level, dignified. The head wore a hat, and the hair was tied up with a cloth. There was a small hole at the top of the hat for a hairpin to be inserted. The hair and eyebrows were carved out. From the jade figurine head, Lai Wen could guess that this figurine was a dancing figurine wearing a square hat. "Do you see it?" The jade figurine wore a hat, and its facial features were regular. Its beard was sparse, and its nose was straight. Its mouth was slightly open, and its ears were big. The hair at the back of its head was carefully carved. There was a stubble at the bottom of its neck, and there was a hole for a hairpin to be inserted into. The whole body was polished and shiny. Bai Dapeng boasted. Qi Si also cheered. Aya, this is amazing. This thing is a treasure. Yes, it is indeed a treasure. Lai Wen nodded. Boss Lai, can you estimate the value of this treasure? Qi Si smiled. Lai Wen shook his head. It's hard to say. If it's valuable, then it's very valuable. If it's, haha, I won't say the rest. This jade figurine head of the Han dynasty should be unearthed from the Han Emperor's Wei tomb. It's one of the many jade carvings, right? Bai Dapeng gave a thumbs up. Boss Lai has good taste. According to the Han dynasty records, Emperor Xian was fortunate to have a gathering of phoenixes, and obtained the jade treasure from Wanshou Palace. Lai Wen said, the large number of jade carvings in the tomb shows that Emperor Xian continued his father's hobby and followed the custom of burying a large number of jade carvings after death. Yes, that's true. Only then did Lai Wen get to the point. It's said that the rarer something is, the more valuable it is. Once there are too many things, the value will be greatly reduced. Bai Dapeng was stunned. Qi Si was also stunned. It turned out that Lai Wen beat around the bush so many times just to suppress the price. Boss Lai, isn't this rare? This is Han jade. Qi Si said, in my opinion, this is really a treasure. In my opinion, it is also a treasure, but it is not considered rare. Lai Wen said, if I were to bid, it would not be higher than this. With that, Lai Wen stretched out 2 fingers. 20 million? Bai Dapeng was stunned. Lai Wen laughed heartily. Boss Bai, you really know how to joke. Such a small jade figurine is worth 20 million? This antique business is too profitable. Bai Dapeng's face darkened. Qi Si probed, Boss Lai doesn't mean it's 2 million, right? That's right. 2 million. Lai Wen said, because its head is complete and smooth, that's why it's worth this price. If there were any bumps, then it wouldn't be easy to sell. Boss Lai, this is a bit of a joke. I want such a rare piece of Han jade figurine. You're giving this price? Bai Dapeng was obviously not very happy. Lai Wen waved his hand. Boss Bai, don't say that. I can't afford this price. I just said that it can be sold at this price at most. This time, Bai Dapeng's face became even more ugly. Boss Lai, if you're joking, then it's a bit too much. Qi Si laughed. This is really not common. Lai Wen was very calm. If it's common, then it's worth at most 200,000. It's because it's rare that I said it can be sold for 2 million. Lai Wen, do you know how much I bought this thing for? Bai Dapeng's face was a little embarrassed. I spent nearly 5 million to buy it. You're telling me it's only worth 2 million? That can't be helped. Lai Wen said, I can't lie to you. If I lie to you, you can't sell it for that price. How do you want me to explain it to you? Bai Dapeng slapped the table angrily. That damn woman in September. She's as cunning as her grandfather. When doing business with the Zhong family, you have to be 120 times more careful. Lai Wen said, brother, just admit defeat. I really can't help you sell this thing at the price of 5 million. Bai Dapeng lost a few million this time. Of course, he was unwilling. Boss Lai, we're old friends. You can help me. It's not that I don't want to help, but I can't. Lai Wen said, if you really can't, you can find the Zhong family to return it. They have already earned the fat meat in their mouth. Can they still spit it out? Qi Si said, don't joke. This is impossible. You know it's impossible. Then why did you come to me? Lai Wen said. In fact, he knew in his heart that Bai Dapeng and Qi Si knew that they had lost, so they came to him to find a way. However, they didn't expect to lose so much. They were so shocked when they heard this today. Boss Lai, you can't just watch me lose a few million. Bai Dapeng was also distressed. You are familiar with the Zhong family. Can you help me say hello? Lai Wen shook his head helplessly. This is really difficult. Okay, we will tell you the truth today. Chi Sihai said, Today, I invited Boss Lai to appraise it to make sure that I was not fooled. Now that I'm sure, I hope Boss Lai can help. There are rules in this industry. There is no going back. Lai Wen said, It's really not that I don't want to help you, but I really can't help. Boss Lai, if you don't help with such a small matter, the favor between us. Bai Dapeng suddenly spoke. Lai Wen was stunned and shook his head helplessly. Old Bai, you really put me in a difficult position. I can't help it. Who asked you to be familiar with the Zhong family? Bai Dapeng said awkwardly, I don't want to trouble you with this matter, but if I don't trouble you, I really can't find trouble with others. Lai Wen smiled a few times. Zhong Jiu Yu's item? N. Bai Dapeng nodded. Boss Bai, it's not that I want to nag you, but you really have to be more careful in the future. Don't take it lightly just because the item is a beauty. You can't take it lightly in any situation. It's not the first time you've encountered such a situation. Why don't you learn from your mistakes? Lai Wen was really helpless. Bai Dapeng just kept nodding. I know it's all my fault. Boss Lai, please help me. I feel wronged in my heart. I don't dare to say this to you. I'll do my best. Lai Wen thought that he still owed Bai Dapeng a favor, so he had to agree to this matter. You leave the item here first. I'll find a way to contact Zhong Jiu and see if I can talk things out. Bai Dapeng nodded vigorously. I'll listen to Boss Lai. Come, let's have a drink. Chi Sihai saw the situation and picked up the wine glass. Boss Lai is really affectionate and righteous. Su Yun was listening and watching at the side. These people were really interesting. They were so rich, but they still cared about losing a few million? People who played antiques were like this. They had to care. They didn't care if one lost a few million, but what about 2, 3, or 10? When they lost a lot, they naturally cared, so they had to care about this kind of thing. He could extravagantly waste a few million, but he absolutely couldn't tolerate losing a few 100,000. Even if it was normal in this circle, they still couldn't accept it. Chapter 30-20. The meal was very slow. Bai Dapeng and Chi Sihai drank a lot of wine. Lai Wen didn't drink much because he just got off the plane and was still jet-lagged. His mind was in a mess. He was thinking of ways to help Bai Dapeng. Zhong Jiu wasn't a good person. Even though she was a woman, she was quite bold when it came to doing things. They exchanged glasses of wine and drank until it was very late. Su Yun had been here for a long time. He just wanted to go home with Lai Wen and see if he could find clues about Xia Qiuyu. Although so much time had passed, Su Yun definitely didn't forget his original purpose. However, after eating and drinking, they didn't intend to leave. Bathing in the sauna and looking for girls must be a long journey. Su Yun followed Lai Wen until the middle of the night. In the end, Lai Wen didn't go home and stayed in the hotel. Because of the time difference, Su Yun wanted to sleep as soon as possible. Who knew what was waiting for him tomorrow? He had to ensure that he had the energy to save Xia Qiuyu at any time. Although she was back now, Su Yun still felt uneasy. Even if he was prepared for a long battle from the beginning, there was still no news of Xia Qiuyu. Su Yun's heart was beating fast. At 4 o'clock in the morning in Yanjing, when most people hadn't woken up, Su Yun opened his eyes. If this matter couldn't be dealt with early, Lai Wen wouldn't have returned to Xionghu in time. Although Lai Wen had more activities in Yanjing, his roots were in Xionghu City. His family business was there. Xia Qiuyu was also grounded in Lai Wen's villa in Xionghu. The earlier he cleaned up the trouble, the earlier he could find a way to let Lai Wen return to Xionghu. This was the most urgent matter for Su Yun. If he wanted to solve the problem, he had to understand the Zhong family. Su Yun had heard the name Zhong Jiu from Ma San'er. He believed that Ma San'er had some understanding of the Zhong family. After washing up and getting dressed, Su Yun ran straight to Pan Garden. By the time Su Yun arrived at the Pan Garden, it was already very lively. Many people had taken advantage of the fact that the sky was still dark to search for treasures. Su Yun went straight to Ma Sander's door. At this time, Ma San had already opened the door to do business. He took out all the things that could be said to be valuable or worthless to the door and left the stall. Ma Sanner had a small reputation in Pan Garden, so there would be customers when he set up his stall. Just as he was about to greet them with a smile, Su Yun appeared. "Brothers, I'm sorry. Something came up today, so we're temporarily closed for an hour." Su Yun stepped forward and helped Ma Sanner to close the stall without saying anything. Ma Sanner saw that it was Su Yun, and he was speechless. "I was wondering how I offended you. You just arrived and you already ruined my business. I really admire you. You don't admire me?" Su Yun didn't stop when he spoke. "If you really don't admire me, then let's fight." Ma Sanner was suddenly speechless. "Admire? Do I dare to not admire you? That's enough. Hurry up and close the stall. Go back to the house. I have something to tell you," Su Yun said in a hurry. Ma Sanner's heart was almost broken. "If you have something to say, just say it. Why do you have to hinder my business? Do you know how many days I haven't opened the pot? Do you really want me to starve to death? Okay, don't complain. I will compensate you for today's loss," Su Yun said. When Ma Sanner heard this, he recovered his usual expression. "You said it yourself. Let me tell you. I have already recorded it for you with a voice memo. You can't go back on your words." Su Yun nodded. "Am I that kind of person? You are really that kind of person?" Ma Sanner sighed. "I really made you speechless. What is it?" "I want to inquire about the situation." After Su Yun finished speaking, he smiled and sent the customers away. He and Ma Sanner packed up and closed the door directly. Ma Sanner sat down sullenly and poured himself a glass of water. He didn't have any intention of treating his guests. "If you have something to say, say it quickly. I still have to do business after that. You really delay things. You should be familiar with Zhong and Jiuyu, right?" Su Yun said. Ma Sanner spat out the water he just drank. He looked at Su Yun in surprise. "How did you mix with the Zhong family?" Ma Sanner was really puzzled about this. The Zhong family wouldn't deal with people outside their circle. So Su Yun mixing with the Zhong family was obviously beyond Ma Sanner's expectation. "Of course, I didn't mix with the Zhong family," Su Yun said. "I'm not a person in your circle." "Then what are you asking about?" Ma Sanner glanced at Su Yun. "If you have nothing to do, just stay here. Don't get involved in this mess. I will mix with the Zhong family soon. If you don't say something to me, I won't feel confident," Su Yun said. Ma Sanner was speechless. "Aya, my dear. You're making me feel uncertain. What are you doing? Why do you have to mess with the Zhong family?" Su Yun explained his situation to Ma Sanner. Ma Sanner was confused. "Isn't this too complicated? When did the Dragon Brigade do things so tactfully?" Ma Sanner said, "This is too not your style. People have to improve and mature." Su Yun said, "You can't look at me like an old man." Ma Sanner didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Okay, you're mature and you're improving. Then listen to me and don't get involved in this kind of thing. The Zhong family is unreasonable. You want to return the goods that attracted their attention? You must be out of your mind," Su Yun said helplessly, "but if this can't be solved, I'm afraid it will delay me for a long time." "Then let it delay you," Ma Sanner said. "Let me tell you, Lai Wan is at most trying. He doesn't believe that he can solve the problem, right?" "I don't know about that," Su Yun said, "but I'm working under him now. According to common sense, I should help him solve the problem." "You do have the ability." Ma Sanner shook his head helplessly. "So you're really going to go head to head? The Zhong family's Jiu Yu is not a woman to be trifled with. She's not even afraid of 1,000-year-old dumpling underground. You should take it easy. Su Yun's gaze was still on Ma San'er. Ma San'er spread his hands and said, I've said what I should say. Shouldn't you leave? Don't delay my business. It's almost dawn. What did you say that you've said what you should say? Su Yun was at a loss. What's the difference between that and not saying anything? Ma San'er nodded. Of course there's a difference. I told you that the Zhong family's Jiu is not to be trifled with. Otherwise, you wouldn't know. You. Su Yun was speechless. Ma San'er, can we still be brothers? Su Yun asked. Ma San'er looked at Su Yun. Then it's up to you. Give me a straight answer. Su Yun said, How can I deal with the Zhong family's Jiu? Ma San'er sighed. If I really knew how to deal with the Zhong family's Jiu, do you think I would hide it from you? I really don't know. Then she has no weakness at all? She has a weakness. Ma San'er said, The Zhong family's Jiu is a very love-struck person. If you can make her fall in love with you, then I don't think anything will be a problem. It can be easily solved. Su Yun glared at Ma San'er. When did you become so unreliable? Who's the unreliable one between the two of us? Ma San'er was speechless. You came to me to talk about the Zhong family. I sincerely gave you a piece of advice. Don't provoke them. This is my heartfelt advice. You don't believe me. Forget it. I forgot that you're also a big coward. Su Yun shrugged his shoulders. Ma San'er didn't mind. I'm willing to be a coward. As long as I have an endless source of income, then so be it. Chapter 30:21. You don't have to care if I'm a coward or not. What I just said is true. Ma San'er said, No one in the antique industry doesn't know the character of Zhong Jiu. As long as you show your masculinity, she will definitely fall under your genes. F***ck off. Su Yun waved his hand. You said that you have been in the antique industry for so many years. Why can't you do such a small thing? Ma San'er snorted. Lai Wen is so rich. Zhong Jiu may not necessarily give him face. I will use my face to solve this for you. You are really useless. Su Yun shook his head helplessly. Sai, you're right. I'm useless. I'm just a piece of trash. You better hurry up and get out of here. I'm doing business here, and you're still not done yet. Su Yun could hear that Ma San'er really had no ability. Okay, I won't disturb you from getting rich. Make more money. If I am in trouble later, I will have a place to freeload. Don't have any ideas about me. Ma San'er said quickly, I tell you, if you are like this, then I will emigrate directly. You don't have to move. I will move. Su Yun finished and was ready to leave. Since he couldn't get an answer, he didn't need to stay. When Su Yun pushed the door and left, Ma San'er spoke again. Do you still remember the kite that fell by the lotus pond? What the hell? Su Yun was stunned. Why are you pretending to be elegant? A kite is a kite. What kite? You make it seem like you are very cultured. I am cultured. I am happy. It is none of your business. Ma San'er was so angry that he blew his beard and glared. Su Yun was also at a loss for his sudden, poetic and picturesque. He didn't want to waste time with Ma San'er. After leaving Pan Garden, he trotted all the way back to Yenjing Hotel. Although it was just dawn, most people were still sleeping in bed, but Lai Wen had already woken up. It couldn't be helped. He really couldn't fall asleep. When Su Yun returned to the hotel, Lai Wen had already walked around the hotel several times and directly bumped into Su Yun. Boss Lai, you're... Su Yun didn't expect this guy to run in the morning. Lai Wen was also surprised to see Su Yun. You went for a run too? That's right. Su Yun nodded his head. To stretch my muscles and bones. You're still the best. Where did you run to? I'm only on my third lap. Lai Wen said, I'm already out of breath. Let's go upstairs and drink some water. Su Yun followed Lai Wen to his room. He took out a bottle of mineral water from the water cabinet and handed it to Lai Wen. Lai Wen gulped down a few mouthfuls before lying down on the bed. "Boss Lai, you're lacking in exercise," Su Yun said. "You should run more. Exercise is good for your body and mind." Lai Wen's breathing gradually calmed down. "I also want to, but I really don't have time." People who didn't exercise like to use the same excuse. No time. This was the excuse that most people like to use. They had time to eat and drink, smoke and play cards, flirt with girls, but they didn't have time to exercise. "It can't be helped. Boss Lai is busy every day." Su Yun followed Lai Wen's words and said, "It can't be helped." "Yeah, I'm worried now. I'm too worried." Lai Wen sighed. "You know, I want to help them return this jade figurine to the Zhong family. Zhong Jiao Yu isn't a woman to be trifled with." "I don't have any clue now." Su Yun smiled. "Boss Lai, according to the rules, you have to admit defeat in the antique case, right? The rules are the rules, but there's no other way." "Who asked me to owe her a favor? I have to think of a way." Lai Wen said, "If it's really not possible, then I'll give Zhong Jiao 10 days to half a month and see how she reacts." 10 days to half a month. Su Yun was stunned. This was too unreliable. He was anxious to go to Xionghu City with Lai Wen. If Lai Wen took so long because of this small matter, Su Yun really couldn't wait. "Since we don't abide by the rules, then why should we waste time?" Su Yun said, "Anyway, no matter what method is used, it's a method." Lai Wen was stunned. "What's your opinion?" "I don't know much, but Boss Lai pays me a salary, so I have to do what I should do." Su Yun said, "Of course, it's to protect your interests." Lai Wen thought about it. That's right. Su Yun was a master. He was very sure of this, but he didn't know what level of master Su Yun was. However, Lai Wen was very clear that there was a very powerful master around Zhong Jiao Yu. If Su Yun could really fight with the master, even if Lai Wen couldn't return the goods, he could also test Su Yun's ability. If Su Yun could be on par with the master around Zhong Jiao Yu, then it would be a big gain. If he really couldn't resist, then as long as he could withstand 20 moves from the master around Zhong Jiao Yu, it would be enough to deal with a lot of things. This was Lai Wen's expectation. "Are you going to give me face?" Lai Wen smiled slightly. Su Yun nodded. "It's not to give face, but to do what I should do." "Okay. Then I'll take you to meet the people from the Zhong family." Lai Wen promised. "I'll make an appointment with them today. Although Zhong Jiao Yu doesn't listen to me much, if I say that I have good goods, she will still be tempted." Su Yun was silent. "But when I give her this jade ornament, she will definitely turn hostile." Lai Wen sighed, raised his hand, and looked at the jade ring on his thumb. "This is a good thing. Zhong Jiao Yu will definitely like it." Su Yun looked at Lai Wen, not knowing what he meant. "But I don't want to sell this thing." Lai Wen shook his head. "But without it, Zhong Jiao Yu won't come out. If you don't want to sell it, Boss Lai can give a high price." Su Yun said, "Let the other party feel that it's not worth it, then can't they avoid it?" "Ha ha, you're thinking too simply." Lai Wen said, "Since Zhong Jiao Yu can sell it, she can definitely buy it. It's not like she hasn't done this kind of thing before. If she really likes something, she will give me a price after wearing it. If I don't accept it, she won't be ready to return the ring to me." Su Yun was startled. There is such a person? This is why many people don't dare to do business with the Zhong family easily. The Zhong family has a big business, power, and influence. Some things are equal to justice, so provoking them won't bring you any benefits, only losses. But there are still people who do business with them. Su Yun couldn't understand. That can't be helped. The Zhong family has goods and money in their hands. Money can buy treasures that many people can't afford, and goods can let many people find their favorite antiques. Lai Wen said, "This is the advantage of the Zhong family." Su Yun smiled. To put it bluntly, they are bullying people. Don't say this in front of the Zhong family. Otherwise, the Zhong family will turn hostile. Lai Wen laughed. I don't want to fall out with Zhong Jiuyu, so you have to do what you want to do today, but you can't go too far. You have to control it, understand? Understood. Although Su Yun said so, he didn't mean to do so at all. He didn't care whether it was Zhong Jiuyu or Mid-Autumn Festival, and he didn't care whether you were a Leo in July or not. When you said you would fall out, you would fall out. Okay, I believe you. Lai Wen slapped his thigh. You go back to the room and wait for my news. When I arrange it, I will take you there immediately. Chapter 30-22. After Su Yun returned to his room, he actually wanted to take this opportunity to report to the Dragon Brigade. After all, he had returned to Yanjing and wanted to see Yu Meiren. When he left, he didn't say goodbye. Su Yun felt apologetic that he didn't go and see her now. However, Su Yun was worried that his whereabouts would be exposed. If Lai Wen knew his identity at this time, then all his efforts would be in vain. Therefore, Su Yun couldn't act rashly. He could only endure the emptiness and loneliness in his heart and watch TV in the hotel. He watched for the whole morning, and Lai Wen didn't contact him until noon. However, lunch was prepared and directly sent in by the room service. Steak, thick soup, and egg fried rice. This combination looked very appetizing. Su Yun knew what Lai Wen meant. He didn't want him to leave and asked him to wait for news at any time. Su Yun directly ate in the room and began to watch TV again. He watched for the whole afternoon until his eyes hurt. Lai Wen arranged for someone to knock on his door. Su Yun opened the door and saw that it was the room service staff. Hello, sir. Mr. Lai is already waiting for you in the car downstairs. Please go down. Got it. Su Yun nodded and walked directly to the elevator. It seemed that Zhong Jiuyu wasn't a good person to make an appointment with. Lai Wen took such a good bait, and still took a day to make an appointment. When Su Yun came downstairs, Lai Wen's car was already parked in front of the hotel. Su Yun wanted to go to the front passenger seat, but he found that the front passenger seat was already occupied. Lai Wen actually left the other seat in the back for Su Yun. This was definitely not an ordinary use for Su Yun. After Su Yun got in the car, Lai Wen showed him a small exquisite wooden box. How is it? This is matched with my jade thumb ring. It's classy enough, right? This small wooden box was inlaid with gold. Su Yun nodded. Very classy. That's a must. Lai Wen said, Zhong Jiuyu is a very particular woman. After more than an hour of traffic jams, the car finally stopped in the courtyard of a restaurant that didn't look big. It was called a restaurant because this place was too Chinese style. Big red lanterns were hung high, and huaxiar elements were everywhere. We're here. Lai Wen looked at Su Yun. This place is probably the most particular place to eat huaxia food in Beijing. Su Yun got out of the car and looked around. Just looking at the environment was enjoyable enough. Lai Wen motioned for Su Yun to follow behind him. After passing through a long corridor with many twists and turns, they entered a single room. There was no one in the room. Lai Wen obviously did what he should do as a guest. He arrived first and prepared everything. Su Yun, if you eat the food here once, you definitely won't want to eat the food from other places. Lai Wen smiled proudly. Even if it's a plate of stir-fried shredded potatoes here, it will definitely surprise you. Su Yun saw a menu on the service table at the side. He casually opened a page, and it was indeed enough to surprise him. A plate of stir-fried shredded potatoes costs 19,988 yuan? Is this eating shredded potatoes or golden shredded potatoes? Even if the price is exaggerated, there should be a limit. Just like the Qingdao prawns, 38 yuan. Although it's exaggerated, there is still a limit. But this is shredded potatoes. A plate of shredded potatoes costs nearly 20,000 yuan. Isn't that equivalent to hundreds of yuan? Boss Lai, this is really a black shop. Su Yun frowned. The customers who come here to eat are probably here to eat at this price, right? Are they really here to eat? That's because you haven't eaten yet, so you don't think the price is worth it. Lai Wen said bluntly, if you eat, I promise you won't think so. I won't think it's worth it even if I eat it. Su Yun said, this price is too unreasonable. Lai Wen was still confident. Do you want to know how the shredded potatoes are made? Su Yun nodded. I really want to know. It's just that this potato has a great origin. It's a rare type of potato grown on the French island of Nouamej. The annual output of this type of potato is less than 100 tons. The potatoes are very, very soft, and can only be harvested by hand. The price of this type of potato is as high as €500 per kilogram. Lai Wen said seriously. Su Yun raised his eyebrows. Boss Lai, you're not joking, right? €500 per kilogram of potatoes? Yes. Lai Wen said, it's equivalent to 3,000 to 4,000 yuan. Just call it golden beans. Su Yun was speechless. Then this plate of shredded potatoes is only 1 kilogram. The price of the raw materials is 4,000 yuan. The chef is awesome and gives 1,000 yuan. That 5,000 yuan is already a sky-high price. You haven't finished listening to me. Although this potato is expensive, the stir-fried shredded potatoes here only use the best part of it. One potato only uses half of it. My goodness! 4,000 yuan per kilogram of potatoes is also thick-skinned? Su Yun really had a feeling of not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Are rich people so extravagant? Lai Wen waved his hand. Every shredded potato has a standard width and length. The inside has to be pierced with a thin wire, and then the white shrimp meat from Pace, Western Australia is poured in. Su Yun was really convinced when he heard this. He stared. Every shredded potato is crystal clear inside, as if there is a crystal pillar inside. Lai Wen said, the taste is self-evident. Su Yun believed this sentence. One bite would cost a few hundred yuan, right? The feeling was self-evident. Not to mention eating, just looking at such a dish was really beautiful enough. How is it? Do you think it's worth it now? Lai Wen said. Su Yun nodded. He wouldn't ask more about the rest of the dishes. He just looked at the cooking process. It definitely wouldn't be cheap. Mash the shrimp meat and pour it into the shredded potatoes. The whole was not even as thick as a fishing line. This craftsmanship was also valuable. At least Su Yun couldn't do this kind of work. He couldn't do it even if he was given 10,000 yuan. Boss Lai, is it necessary for us to be so extravagant? Su Yun said. Of course, because mid-September is very ostentatious. If I don't give her a big show, maybe she will really miss the appointment. Lai Wen said, mid-September is still very busy. Almost every day, there are countless people who want to invite her to dinner. Ordinary things can't enter her eyes. Su Yun nodded. That's right. Let me eat 20,000 yuan a plate of shredded potatoes. In the future, I won't be interested in the 15 yuan a plate of shredded potatoes in a small shop on the street. Lai Wen laughed. So, I said that people are the same. Everyone is the same. Everyone likes to be extravagant. What time is the appointment? Su Yun asked. Lai Wen looked at the expensive watch on his wrist. 6 o'clock, there are still 10 minutes. If she doesn't come, it means that we didn't grasp her mentality. Mid-September is a very punctual person. Su Yun nodded. Then let's wait for another 10 minutes. Even if she doesn't come, I'll invite you to try the shredded potatoes here today. Lai Wen laughed. Su Yun waved his hand. Forget it. I'm afraid that if I eat the food here, I won't be able to eat other things in the future. Su Yun, the food in the small shop on the street is pretty good. Look at what you said. If you follow me, can you still eat those things in the future? Lai Wen stared. People live to enjoy. You can go and enjoy. I'm here. Su Yun laughed. Thank you, Boss Lai. Chapter 30-23. 10 minutes later, Zhong Juyue pushed open the door at the last second at 5:59 p.m. Of course, it wasn't her who pushed open the door, but the man beside her who was about 37 or 38 years old. Zhong Juyue was dressed appropriately. Elie Sabo's black lace gown had always been called gorgeous by this brand. It was made of silk, sparkling satin, pearlescent material, chiffon with unique patterns, silver tassels, and delicate embroidery. All of this was gorgeous as Zhong Juyue walked, filled with elegant and dreamy colors. Zhong Juyue's fiery red lips and black retro curly hair, wearing a Bulgari diamond necklace and earrings, made her look even more noble and elegant. As the saying goes, clothes make the man. Elie Sabo's gown had a great texture to it. Many celebrities wore this brand when they attended high-class events. Lee Darren wore this brand's pleated dress, Liu Yifei wore this brand's orange fairy dress, and Fan Xian wore this brand's blue deep V-neck dress, nude floral dress, purple fairy dress, volcanic eruption dress. They had several sets of this brand's dresses. Of course, there were also celebrities who were on the news because they wore this brand's knockoffs. Zhong Juyue's black lace gown had the aura of a goddess. When she appeared, not only was Lai Wen stunned, even Su Yun was a bit stunned. He had never heard of such a beautiful woman in Yanjing. Although Zhong Juyue was at least 30 years old, her temperament, this feeling, it was definitely not comparable to a normal young lady. Zhong Juyue's face was beautiful and smooth. With this temperament of her clothes, she was simply perfect. "Boss Lai, long time no see," Zhong Juyue said faintly. Lai Wen finally came back to his senses. "Miss Zhong, we really haven't seen each other for a long time." Miss Zhong Juyue is so much prettier than before." Boss Lai really knows how to joke. Zhong Juyue smiled, and the man beside her immediately pulled out the chair. Zhong Jiuyu sat down, and the man stood behind her. He was expressionless the whole time and didn't say a word. At this time, Su Yun realized that he should also stand up and stand behind Lai Wen. This way, Lai Wen's aura wouldn't lose too much. However, it was already too late. If Su Yun stood up at this time, not only would he not be able to make up for the situation, he would also lose face. Lai Wen also knew this, so he immediately raised Su Yun's status. "Miss Zhong, let me introduce you first. This is my younger brother, Su Yun." Zhong Jiuyu glanced at Su Yun and felt that he looked familiar, but he only glanced at him and nodded slightly. "Brother, this is the Zhong family's Miss Zhong Jiuyu that I often mention to you. Say hello to Miss Zhong," Lai Wen introduced. Since Zhong Jiuyu was so polite, Su Yun naturally wouldn't fall behind. He nodded indifferently and took it as a greeting. This reaction not only surprised Jiuyu, even Lai Wen did not dare to treat Jiuyu like this. This time, Lai Wen was a little confused. However, Su Yun still quickly made another reaction. Seeing is believing. Miss Zhong's temperament is really extraordinary. When Su Yun had the action just now, Jiuyu did not have the previous contempt for him and said, "Mr. Su, you flatter me." "This is the truth," Su Yun said. Lai Wen instantly looked at Su Yun in a new light. This kid is really good. In layman's terms, he can be in the hall and in the kitchen. Whether it was with such a person with such a strong aura in this high-end place, or with those bumpkins in Africa, Su Yun could handle it. Jiuyu smiled slightly and turned her gaze to Lai Wen. "Boss Lai, I can't wait for that thing." "Ha ha ha, Miss Zhong is too impatient," Lai Wen said lightly. "Since it's here, the thing naturally can't fly away. Let's eat first." "Come, Miss Zhong, I know you like to eat here. Just order whatever you want to eat. Boss Lai should be very clear in your heart that the purpose of my coming here today is not to eat." Jiuyu smiled again. "Boss Lai, let's not waste time. If I can't see anything, I won't have the appetite to eat at all." Lai Wen's smile was a little awkward. Jiuyu's straightforwardness made him feel that something was wrong. Miss Zhong is right. Su Yun actually spoke for Jiuyu. "It's true that you should look at the thing you like first. Otherwise, this meal will be really awkward." Lai Wen didn't understand what Su Yun meant, but since they had already said it out loud, he couldn't be awkward anymore. Well, since Miss Zhong is so interested, I'll let Miss Zhong see something first. Lai Wen finished speaking and took out a small wooden box that he carried with him. Obviously, this thing was very precious. He was not willing to let Su Yun hold it for him. Lai Wen put the small box on the table and slowly opened it. The thumb ring appeared in front of Jiao Yu. Blood-seeping jade thumb ring. In layman's terms, it was blood jade. This thing had a history. It was not taken from the finger of an ordinary person. Perhaps only people at the imperial level could be buried with this kind of treasure. Legend said that blood jade was very evil. It referred to jade that was soaked in blood, not a kind of natural jade. Whether it was jadeite, Hatien jade, or topaz, as long as it was soaked in blood, it was blood jade. Actually, that was not the case. In fact, blood jade was not an exact term. In the jade industry and antique industry, no one would say the word blood jade. In ancient jade, some jade would appear red after being buried in the soil, so some people called this kind of red blood seeping out. Qing dynasty ancient jade collectors called this kind of red blood seeping out of ancient jade blood seeping into the jade. They believed that blood seeping out of corpses was formed by the blood seeping into the jade. But this statement was unscientific. According to modern scientific tests and experiments, blood would quickly be carbonized underground. It would not seep into the hard jade body like inorganic substances. The red blood seeping out of ancient jade was due to iron in the soil or iron in the burial goods being oxidized and decomposed into the jade body. Commonly seen blood seeping out of the soil was dark red or reddish-brown, which was caused by iron. However, this blood-seeping jade ring was not dark red or reddish-brown, but a very bright red. Obviously, this was an extremely rare blood-seeping jade. Boss Lai, such a high-quality item. It can't be made by a machine, right? Although Zhong Jiaoyu said this, she knew that Lai Wen was an expert and would not do such a low-level thing. Lai Wen knew what Zhong Jiaoyu meant. He directly picked up the jade, placed it on the table, and turned it over. Zhong Jiaoyu took the blood-seeping jade ring in her hand, and her expression began to change slightly. The man beside her took out some high-tech equipment. Zhong Jiaoyu inspected it and became more and more surprised. This was definitely a high-quality item. If people in the antique industry got their hands on this kind of thing, no one would sell it because it was too rare. So Zhong Jiaoyu did not understand why Lai Wen would sell it. This was not the style of a normal person. Moreover, Lai Wen was not the kind of person who was in dire straits. His current status was high. Selling this kind of rare plaything was really puzzling. Miss Zhong, how is it? Is this thing pleasing to your eyes? Lai Wen smiled faintly. This isn't trash made from low-quality jade contaminated with chemical coloring agents. That kind of jade isn't bright red. It's dull and average on the surface of the jade. It has no value at all. I don't dare to show it to Miss Zhong to have a look. Chapter 3024. I also believe that you don't have that kind of inferior jade in your hands. Zhong Juyue smiled. Boss Lai is really sincere this time. You know that I want these peerless things, so you got it for me. Lai Wen laughed. I remember that when I contacted Miss Zhong, I said very clearly that I wanted you to come and appraise it. In their circle, they were all knowledgeable people and knew how to appraise it themselves. Saying that he wanted someone to come and appraise meant that he wanted to tell the other party, how much can you pay for it? This thing is yours. I can't afford it anymore. That was the correct meaning. Zhong Juyue knew that Lai Wen had always been an old fox. Oh. If it's just an appraisal, then Boss Lai should go to a place where the qualification certificate is issued. Ha ha ha, Miss Zhong really knows how to joke. Lai Wen said. Zhong Juyue was very straightforward. Boss Lai, the person who knows how to joke isn't me. It's you, right? What do you mean? Lai Wen was stunned. Miss Zhong, I think there might be some misunderstanding between us. Boss Lai, we're all people in the circle. We know each other. You don't have to do this with me, right? Zhong Juyue also smiled. If it's like this, it's really a bit boring. Lai Wen licked his lips and didn't say anything. I know that this thing is good, so Boss Lai won't accept a normal price. Zhong Juyue said again. So I also know what price I should give Boss Lai. Miss Zhong he. Lai Wen just laughed dryly. Zhong Juyue nodded slightly. Okay. If Boss Lai wants to name his own price, then there's no problem. Lai Wen was silent. Su Yun knew that they were playing psychological warfare. If it was really a normal transaction, Lai Wen would definitely think for a long time. But this time, Lai Wen answered quickly. After a short 1 or 2 minutes, he said, "This is at least a 9-digit price." Zhong Juyue rolled her eyes. 9 digits. Bull ****. Lai Wen, this old thing, really dared to ask for an exorbitant price. What kind of quality was a 9-digit item? He only had a thumb ring. Even if it was a rare blood-seeping jade, even if it was worn by an emperor, it couldn't be a 9-digit price. As for the price that Zhong Jiuyu thought was more suitable, he would give at most 8 digits. If he could buy it for 8 figures, it would definitely be a pretty good price. One side was demanding an exorbitant price, while the other side was trying to push the price down to the bottom. That was why there was a 10-fold difference. Zhong Jiuyu laughed. Is Boss Lai bankrupt? Why do you need money so urgently? When Lai Wen heard Zhong Jiu curse him, he was naturally unhappy, but he couldn't say it out loud. Miss Zhong, I spent this price to buy this thing. I can't do business at a loss. Zhong Jiuyu laughed again. Boss Lai, in our circle, everyone knows that you're smarter than a monkey when it comes to sticking fur. You think you'll get caught? If you often walk by the river, how can your shoes not get wet? Lai Wen said, in this line of work, everyone has seen eye-catching things happen. Even so, it shouldn't be Boss Lai's turn. Zhong Jiuyu said faintly, Boss Lai, give me a straightforward price. Lai Wen shook his head. Miss Zhong, I'm an honest person. Ha 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 ha. Zhong Jiuyu laughed again. Yes, indeed. However, I still feel that Boss Lai's price has room to maneuver. After a pause, Zhong Jiuyu continued, in this case, I'll double Boss Lai's price, 20 million. Without waiting for Lai Wen to speak, Zhong Jiuyu had already reached for the thumb ring. Once the thumb ring was in her hand, it was definitely impossible to get it back. Lai Wen's heart really thumped. Then, he would lose a lot. At this moment, the turntable on the table spun quickly, and the small box containing the thumb ring was swung up. But it fell exactly into Su Yun's palm. Su Yun took the box and directly returned it to Lai Wen. Zhong Jiuyu was stunned by this scene. At that moment, Zhong Jiuyu had a feeling that the fat meat on the side of her mouth flew away just like that. The cooked duck was gone just like that. What does Mr. Su mean? Zhong Jiuyu's temper wasn't good. She was angry on the spot. Su Yun was very calm. He smiled slightly. The price hasn't been settled yet. It's better not to touch the goods. I'm just worried that there will be unnecessary displeasure. Zhong Jiuyu frowned. Mr. Su, the item is Boss Lai's. This is also a business between me and Boss Lai. No matter what your relationship with Boss Lai is, you shouldn't be involved in our business, right? Since I'm sitting here, it means that Boss Lai trusts me. Su Yun, why can't I be involved? Su Yun's question made Zhong Jiuyu's expression instantly turn serious. So, Mr. Su must be apologetic towards me? Miss Zhong, please don't say that. I'm just an outsider. I'm looking at the transaction from a fair point of view. Su Yun didn't have any intention of backing down. Lai Wen really admired Su Yun in his heart. This kid was really too good. He could talk Zhong Jiuyu into submission. Zhong Jiuyu was really speechless. At this time, Lai Wen felt that it was about time. If he went overboard, Zhong Jiuyu might turn hostile. Okay. We're all on the same side. There's no need to be unhappy because of a thumb ring. Lai Wen actually became the peacemaker in the middle. For Boss Lai's sake, I hope Miss Zhong won't bicker with me, Su Yun said faintly. Zhong Jiuyu glared at Su Yun. Okay, I'll give Boss Lai this face today. Boss Lai, the people you brought are really capable. Miss Zhong, you flatter me. Lai Wen was really proud. At least now that the thumb ring was in his hands, even if Zhong Jiuyu wanted to buy it, she couldn't use force. The item wasn't in her hands. If she bought it by force, it would be called robbery. If the item was in her hands, it was reasonable to buy it by force. The Tao in this was so subtle. Therefore, Su Yun's actions directly helped Lai Wen to keep his thumb ring. Lai Wen didn't dare to be careless and directly put it on his thumb. Ha ha ha, this thumb ring really suits me. Although I bought this thing wrong, I'll accept it. I don't want to trouble Miss Zhong. Zhong Jiuyu now understood. Boss Lai probably didn't come to do business with me sincerely. I like what Miss Zhong said. I'm really honored to have you appraise it for me, Lai Wen said. But if Miss Zhong really wants to do business with me, then I really do have a very good little toy in my hands. I don't know if Miss Zhong is still interested. Zhong Jiuyu said faintly, I'm already here. Do you want me to go back empty-handed? Boss Lai, since Miss Zhong said so, even if you lose money, you have to sell the little toy in your hands to Miss Zhong. Su Yun also said from the side. Hearing this, Zhong Jiuyu didn't feel so disgusted with Su Yun. This was still a reasonable sentence. However, if she knew what Lai Wen was going to take out, then she definitely wouldn't think so. She would definitely want to swallow Su Yun alive. Lai Wen heard this and took out the thing with peace of mind. Even Lai Wen was a little nervous at this time. After all, he did this to Zhong Jiuyu. She wasn't an ordinary person. Chapter 30-25. When Lai Wen took out the jade figurine head, Zhong Jiuyu's face turned ugly. Su Yun observed her every move. Obviously, Zhong Jiuyu was very familiar with this thing. She recognized at a glance that this thing was given to Bai Dapeng by her for 8 million. This price was obviously very excessive. It was more than twice its real value. She couldn't be blamed. Bai Dapeng was the one who made the mistake. It had nothing to do with her. He liked it, she gave the price, and Bai Dapeng accepted it. It was such a simple matter. This thing is good. Su Yun said, the jade is greenish-white, the head is complete, and the fat is smooth. It's a good thing at first glance. Zhong Jiuyu said coldly, it is indeed a good thing. Since Mr. Su likes it so much, Boss Lai, please bear with it. I don't have much interest in this kind of small thing. If Boss Lai doesn't have anything else, then I will leave first. After saying this, Zhong Jiuyu really wanted to get up. Wait a minute. Lai Wen stopped her. Whether Miss Zhong is interested or not, give me an estimate of the price. Let me know the general market. Zhong Jiuyu snorted. Boss Lai is experienced. Do you still need me to tell you the price? Look at what you said. Of course, I need you to tell me. After all, Miss Zhong Jiuyu's family is in the antique business. Lai Wen said, if you can give me a price, I will have confidence in my heart. Zhong Jiuyu's expression didn't change. If you really want to give it to me, I don't mind spending 1 million to buy it. 1 million to 800,000? Su Yun was stunned. This woman was really black-hearted. She sold it for nearly 5 million. Now that it was his turn to buy it, she actually offered 800,000 to 1 million. No wonder people said that people in the antique business could make a fortune. This money was too unreasonable, right? She just opened her mouth and closed it. That was a few million profit. Isn't this price a bit low? Su Yun took over the conversation. Miss Zhong, are you sure you didn't make a mistake? This kind of jade figurine is worth 1 million? 1 million is already the price I offered my friend. Zhong Jiuyu said, if someone I don't know like you, Mr. Su, wants to sell it to me, I'll give you 80 at most. Miss Zhong really has discerning eyes. If it wasn't for Miss Zhong, I really might have offered 5 to 6 million to buy it from Boss Lai, Su Yun said. Zhong Jiu sneered, even if you buy it for 10 million, no one will stop you. But since Miss Zhong has already said so, why should I be so foolish as to attract attention? If you want to, no one can stop you. Su Yun chuckled. That's indeed true. But I'm not stupid. I know it's not worth that much money, but I still have to accept it. Miss Zhong, your price just now really hurt me. Lai Wen shook his head helplessly. Looks like I didn't just miss my eyes today. I've lost a lot of money again. Zhong Jiu had already guessed what they meant, but he didn't point it out. If that's the case, Boss Lai really needs to go to the ophthalmology department. Zhong Jiu said faintly, I don't know if Boss Lai knows anyone. If you don't, I can help you find someone. I still have a few friends in Yanjing Ophthalmology Hospital. Lai Wen laughed bitterly. Miss Zhong really knows how to joke. I'm not joking. I spent 4 to 5 million to get it. Miss Zhong telling me this price really makes me feel bad. Boss Lai, you've already put on this show a few times. Zhong Jiu said faintly, Jiu, you think that being able to accompany you until now is already giving you face, right? I like what Miss Zhong said. This is my life's honor. Lai Wen said. Zhong Jiu nodded. Okay, since you said so, then I won't talk nonsense with you. I chose the wrong place today. Boss Lai, I'll treat you when I have time. Lai Wen hurriedly said, Miss Zhong, did I offend you in any way? Miss Zhong, you want to? Boss Lai, eye-catching things happen every day. If everyone has to find a way to get back at them, then wouldn't the antique market be a mess? Zhong Jiu's words were really considered to have completely opened the topic. Zhong Jiu really had the intention to open the sky window and speak frankly. Boss Lai, I think Miss Zhong's words are reasonable. Su Yun followed. Lai Wen stared. Who is this kid speaking for? But sometimes you have to look at face. If a person offends all the people around him, even if he has power, in the end, he will definitely not be able to survive if everyone betrays him. Especially in the antique industry, this circle needs a lot of connections. Zhong Jiu knew that Su Yun's words were for her to hear. I don't know if Mr. Su thinks that face is valuable? Zhong Jiu said, just talk about your own face. It's valuable in the eyes of some people, and it's not valuable in the eyes of others. Su Yun replied, yes, it's true. It's the same in my eyes. A person's face is valuable. You don't have to say anything. I won't give less face if I should, but if I don't give face, I won't give face at all. Zhong Jiu's words were ruthless. Su Yun pointed at Lai Wen. Will you give face to Boss Lai? I definitely won't give face to Mr. Su, because Mr. Su doesn't need me to give face at all. Zhong Jiu said, and Mr. Su doesn't need to give face to me at all, because we just met once. Face is not valuable at all. Su Yun nodded. Yes, but Boss Lai is different, right? At least he has some face. Of course. Zhong Jiu said, but Boss Lai's face is only limited to Boss Lai. He can't lend it to Mr. Su. Zhong Jiu sneered. Su Yun nodded. Okay, I understand. Zhong Jiu didn't hold back. It's good that you understand. This jade figurine is your business. It has nothing to do with me. Can I go now? After that, Zhong Jiu looked at Lai Wen again. Boss Lai, I've already given you a lot of face today, right? Miss Zhong has indeed given me a lot of face. Lai Wen smiled. What face? Su Yun suddenly said such a sentence. This is considered giving face? Are you kidding? What kind of face is this? Zhong Jiu's face was completely gloomy, and the man beside her was already ready to make a move. Boss Lai, Miss Zhong has already opened the window to the sky. I think you don't need to continue hiding, right? Su Yun suddenly said. This jade figurine originally belonged to Miss Zhong. It seems that Miss Zhong really doesn't care about it at all. Lai Wen was completely stunned. This was not what he expected at all. He expected that he would deal with Zhong Jiuyu, but who knew that Su Yun would directly tear his face? What's the point of playing? Boss Lai, I really want to know what kind of brother this is. Zhong Jiuyu didn't look at Su Yun again. I only hope that you can tell him that the newborn calf is not afraid of the tiger. Lai Wen's face also became ugly. This matter was really troublesome. You listen to me. Zhong Jiuyu said, the Zhong family isn't someone who can be bullied casually. Miss Zhong, I didn't mean that. Lai Wen wanted to explain. What we mean is that you will get a refund for the price you sold it for. It doesn't matter if it's 300,000 to 500,000 less. Just treat it as a tea for you. Su Yun directly took over the words. Zhong Jiuyu was angry. Lai Wen's face turned green. How can this guy speak so arrogantly? Chapter 30:26. Lai Wen's heart was in his throat because of Su Yun. These words were said directly in front of Zhong Jiuyu. Wasn't this a slap to the Zhong family's face? This matter blew up. Even if it was Lai Wen dealing with this kind of matter, it was really difficult to clean up, let alone Su Yun. Miss Zhong, please don't mind him. My brother is a bit too direct. Please forgive him if he offended you. He didn't mean what you think. Lai Wen had no choice but to mediate for Su Yun. But Su Yun didn't appreciate it at all. He didn't give Zhong Jiuyu any face. What I said is what Miss Zhong thinks. Su Yun said, there's nothing wrong with it. Well, since you said so, I won't be polite with you. If you want to take it back, it depends on whether you have the ability to make me accept this jade figurine. Zhong Jiuyu really turned hostile. Lai Wen couldn't help even if he wanted to. The man next to Zhong Jiuyu had already made his move. He reached out to grab Su Yun's face. Su Yun's reaction was really fast. He turned his body and avoided it directly. After all, it was the lost art of the swimming dragon steps. If he wanted to catch Su Yun in this situation, it wasn't something an ordinary person could do. The man was obviously very surprised by Su Yun's exquisite footwork. He couldn't judge the direction of Su Yun's next dodge, but Su Yun could always judge the target of his move in advance. In this way, all his attacks were nullified by Su Yun. Su Yun moved around the room with ease. From time to time, he would suddenly say a sentence behind Zhong Jiuyu. Miss Zhong, you're making things difficult for me. Zhong Jiuyu heard Su Yun's voice. Before she could react, Su Yun's figure disappeared again. This guy was like a ghost, and Zhong Jiuyu was really helpless against him. Obviously, the experts around Zhong Jiuyu were also helpless against Su Yun. Not to mention injuring Su Yun, he even felt that protecting his master was in imminent danger. Su Yun suddenly made a move, aiming straight for this guy's manhood. However, this man was obviously not an ordinary expert. His reaction was very fast, and he directly clamped Su Yun's right foot with his legs. This was a good opportunity for him. After the other party controlled Su Yun, he immediately used Black Tiger Steel's heart to attack. Fortunately, Su Yun's reaction wasn't slow either. His left foot kicked the man's knee. The moment the man's leg went soft, Su Yun immediately escaped from the opponent's attack. The man's morale plummeted when his fists missed. It had already been more than a dozen moves, but he hadn't even hurt a single hair on Su Yun's body. This really made him speechless. How ruthless. Su Yun said faintly. The sound of this fist hitting the air could be heard. It was really unusual. The man didn't get any advantage, and he was angry. This made his mind a little chaotic, and it was difficult for him to make the right judgment for a while. Miss Zhong, it's about time. Lai Wen was already very satisfied. After more than a dozen moves, Su Yun not only didn't suffer in the hands of the experts around Zhong Jiuyu, but he also had the upper hand. Therefore, Lai Wen only wanted to stop now. He didn't want Su Yun to be hurt, and he didn't want to fall out with the Zhong family. Su Yun said to stop, and he really didn't mean anything else. But Zhong Jiuyu's people weren't so easy to talk to. They didn't buy it at all. If Zhong Jiuyu didn't ask him to stop, he couldn't stop. Su Yun was also serious this time. Looking at the opponent's fist technique that was once again aimed at his vitals, Su Yun also attacked without holding back. In this case, the opponent didn't dare to be careless. For a while, the two were locked in a fierce fight. Zhong Jiuyu also saw that this Su Yun was strong. He wasn't a guy who could be defeated in a short time. Enough! Zhong Jiuyu suddenly roared. At this time, her people stopped. Su Yun didn't pursue anymore. When the opponent stopped, he also stopped. Mr. Su, if you want to play with me, then I will let the people of the Zhong family accompany you to the end. Zhong Jiuyu said, from today onwards, in Yanjing, you'd better pray that you don't meet people of the Zhong family. Is this a threat? Su Yun, Miss Zhong, now is a society ruled by law. Zhong Jiuyu said arrogantly, so what? Su Yun, apologize to Miss Zhong. You are too insensible. Lai Wen said quickly. If he was targeted by the people of the Zhong family, he definitely couldn't run away. Boss Lai, I am a person with principles. Su Yun, if Miss Zhong wants to be tough, I can't help it. I can only accompany you. Zhong Jiuyu nodded, then I will see how long you can accompany me. Looking at her like this, she couldn't be done in a short time. Su Yun was a little regretful. This Ma Saner was really unreliable. Didn't they say that Zhong Jiuyu was a love-struck fool? He had shown his masculinity so much, but Zhong Jiuyu still didn't have any intention of liking him. Suddenly, Ma Saner's words appeared in Su Yun's mind. Do you still remember the kite that fell by the lotus pond? Although he felt inexplicable, Su Yun actually understood something at this moment. Just when Zhong Jiuyu hated Su Yun to the bone, Su Yun opened his mouth. Do you still remember the kite that fell by the lotus pond? When Su Yun said this, Zhong Jiuyu was dumbfounded. This expression was absolutely crazy. The emptiness in her eyes was full of disbelief. That feeling was like, phew. Zhong Jiuyu really couldn't explain this feeling at all. You, who are you? Zhong Jiuyu's voice was also trembling. Lai Wan and the man were stunned. What was going on? It was like an idol drama. If it was accompanied by the background music of the male and female lead meeting in Korean idol dramas, it would directly attract fans. Su Yun himself was also stupid. This was what Ma Saner said to him. He didn't ask Ma Saner what he meant. This grandson Ma Saner also didn't explain to him. Now he inexplicably said it out of the blue. He also had a kind of mentality of giving it a try. Who knew that these words would be so lethal? Zhong Jiuyu was murderous just now, but now she was as gentle as water. What the hell is going on? Zhong Jiuyu's voice was still trembling. You? Who are you? She kept shaking her head, as if she couldn't believe what she heard. Can you repeat what you just said? Su Yun hesitated for a moment. When he was reciting it, he didn't feel any pressure. Now that she suddenly asked, his brain really forgot what he said. But Lai Wen remembered. Lai Wen reminded. Just now, he said, do you still remember the kite that fell by the lotus pond? Miss Zhong, what's going on? Zhong Jiuyu raised her head and took a deep breath. If the others didn't hear it wrong, then she definitely didn't hear it wrong. Seeing that Zhong Jiuyu didn't speak, Lai Wen looked at Su Yun again. What's going on? Su Yun steeled his heart and simply played the role. He waved his hand and turned to leave. Boss Lai, this matter can't be explained clearly to you. Seeing that Su Yun was about to leave, Zhong Jiuyu reached out to grab him, but she only grabbed a bit of his clothes. She couldn't stop Su Yun from leaving the room at all. Lai Wen was embarrassed. Once this person left, what could he use to make Zhong Jiuyu stay? Zhong Jiuyu suddenly went forward and grabbed the jade figurine head. Boss Lai, the money will be returned to Bai Dapeng's account as soon as possible. You tell him that this is the first and the last time. We don't do business with people who go back on their words. We can't afford to play with people who go back on their words. Just withdraw from the antique industry. Lai Wen was completely shocked when he heard this. This is what Su Yun said just now? Zhong Jiuyu's attitude changed 180 degrees. This doesn't make sense. Chapter 30:27. Zhong Jiuyu threw down this sentence and rushed out, but Su Yun had already disappeared without a trace. Su Yun himself didn't know that this sentence could cause such a big commotion. What kind of trick did Ma Sander, this grandson, give him? This was really a trap. Su Yun wasn't afraid of conflict, but he really didn't know how to deal with this situation. Zhong Jiuyu's eyes just now were like Xia Yuhe, who was betrayed by Huang Ama. Su Yun couldn't help but wonder if he really did something wrong to her. Zhong Jiuyu chased out but couldn't find Su Yun. She chased out of the restaurant and looked at the empty parking lot. Zhong Jiuyu's mind was blank. At this time, the man also came out and walked behind Zhong Jiuyu and whispered, "Miss Zhong, the weather is a bit cold. Let's get in the car first." Zhong Jiuyu turned around and gave the man a kick. The sharp high heels directly kicked the man's calf bone, which was very painful. "Miss Zhong." The man was a little puzzled. Why did she kick him? Zhong Jiuyu stared and said, "Did you hurt him just now? Say it." "No." The man shook his head. "The opponent's strength is really strong. Maybe I can't deal with him. Miss Zhong, sorry to disappoint you." Zhong Jiuyu heard this and seemed to be relieved. "It's good that you didn't hurt him. If you hurt him, I will definitely teach you a lesson." The man really didn't understand. "Miss Zhong, that person is... Do I still need to explain my matter to you?" Zhong Jiuyu said calmly, "I don't care what method you use. You have to find the person for me. Do you understand what I mean?" The man frowned. "Miss Zhong, let me take people to find the person just now without hurting anyone. This may not be an easy thing." "If everything is so easy, what do I need you to do?" Zhong Jiuyu asked. "Do I raise you to do simple and easy things?" The man didn't speak and lowered his head. "What are you waiting for? Go now!" Zhong Jiuyu shouted angrily. After that, she returned to her room. At this moment, Lai Wen was still thinking about this matter. Su Yun, who was hiding in the room next door, heard that Zhong Jiuyu was back. He didn't dare to show his face. When Zhong Jiuyu returned to the room, he went straight to the point with Lai Wen. "Who is he to you?" When Lai Wen heard Zhong Jiuyu's question, his curiosity was piqued. "Miss Zhong, I should be the one asking you this. What is your relationship with him? Why did you have such a big reaction when he said those words just now?" "My relationship with him is not something that can be explained in 1 or 2 sentences." Zhong Jiuyu said, "But why would he work for you? It should be easy for you to explain. When we met a month ago, you didn't have such a person by your side." Lai Wen was silent for a while. "Well, since Miss Zhong has said so, then I won't hide it from you." "You really shouldn't hide it from me anymore," Zhong Jiuyu said. "He is indeed working under me now. You haven't seen him before because he has been helping me take care of some overseas business in Africa," Lai Wen said. Zhong Jiuyu frowned. "Overseas business?" "Yes." Lai Wen said, "It has been some years. You haven't seen him because he has been overseas. He just returned with me." Zhong Jiuyu didn't believe it. "What is his background?" "Miss Zhong, you know how I do things. I only value people's ability, and I don't care about their background. No matter what his background is, since I choose to put him in an important position, I won't ask about his background. This skill can't be ordinary at all," Zhong Jiuyu reprimanded. Lai Wen, of course, knew that Su Yun did not come from an ordinary background. This skill was beyond his expectations. He originally thought that Su Yun could fight to a draw with the experts around Zhong Jiuyu. But now it seemed that Su Yun could tie with the other party without using his full strength, and even had a slight advantage. "Miss Zhong has good eyesight." Lai Wen smiled. "However, no matter what his background is, he is my man. If Miss Zhong wants to poach him, it is not very kind." Zhong Jiuyu frowned. Lai Wen, I'm not in the mood to joke with you now. Miss Zhong, I'm not joking. Lai Wen said, I'm not blind. I can see that you must have been in contact before, but this contact must be under the condition that you didn't see him, right? Zhong Jiao, you didn't speak, which was a tacit agreement. Miss Zhong, if you don't say it, I don't understand. Lai Wen said, at least let me know how I can help you. Well, then when you see him, ask him if he was the one who saved me. Zhong Jiaoyu suddenly raised her voice. If it is him, then why is he avoiding me? Lai Wen was dumbfounded when he heard this. Is there such a thing? Su Yun grinned next door. Ma San this grandson, is really something. He actually did such an earth-shattering thing? Then why doesn't he want Zhong Jiaoyu to know that he did it? A kite falling by the lotus pond. Su Yun muttered in his heart. Ma San this kid, is really something. I didn't expect him to be so literary. A broken kite is a broken kite, but a falling kite. The scene is so retro. He saved you? Lai Wen was suspicious now. Isn't Su Yun a retired Special Forces soldier? How can a Special Forces soldier have the time to fly a kite at the Lotus Pond? Zhong Jiaoyu glared at Lai Wen. Boss Lai, these are my private matters. I hope you won't inquire about it anymore, okay? Lai Wen was stunned awkwardly. Okay. I just hope to meet and sit down to have a good chat, not just leave a sentence. Zhong Jiaoyu said, Boss Lai, I'll have to trouble you with this matter. Please tell him that he doesn't have to hide from me at all. I won't do anything to him. I just want to thank him, that's all. Lai Wen nodded. Don't worry, I will tell him. Zhong Jiaoyu was not in the mood to continue staying here. She thought that Su Yun had already left, so she quickly walked out of the restaurant. At this time, her private car was already parked at the entrance of the restaurant. Seeing Zhong Jiaoyu go out, the driver quickly opened the door for her. Waiting until Zhong Jiaoyu's car was far away, Su Yun walked out with a sigh of relief. When Lai Wen saw Su Yun, his face was full of doubts. Su Yun, you knew Zhong Jiaoyu from the beginning? What is the relationship between you two? Seeing Lai Wen's suspicion, Su Yun had to make up a story. It was Ma San-er's fault for not telling him clearly. I really didn't know that she was Zhong Jiaoyu. Su Yun made up a story. If I didn't accidentally see the fingernail-sized red birthmark on the back of her neck, I wouldn't have known that I had seen her before. Lai Wen didn't doubt Su Yun's words. The red birthmark on the back of Zhong Jiaoyu's neck was not a birthmark, but a mark left by an antique. There were many versions of this in the circle. So, you didn't know who Zhong Jiaoyu was before you came? Lai Wen said. Of course I didn't know. Su Yun, when I saw her, I didn't know it would be so coincidental. It was just when I was fighting with her subordinates, I noticed it unintentionally. Lai Wen nodded doubtfully. Chapter 3028. What happened between you two? This was probably the thing that Lai Wen was most interested in right now. Su Yun shook his head and waved his hand. It's fine if you don't say it. It's all in the past. There's no point in talking about it now. No, this is quite important to me. Lai Wen said, Su Yun, you were brought up by me. You know what kind of person I am. I think highly of you. Boss Lai, don't worry about this. Su Yun said, I'm not that kind of fence-sitter. The central family is stronger than me. This is not only in terms of antiques, but also in other aspects. Lai Wen said, you and Zhong Jiaoyu have such a relationship. She was even willing to give up a few million to give you face. I have no reason to not worry that she will steal you. Su Yun said to Lai Wen, Boss, don't worry, I'm not that kind of person. In front of benefits, never say something so certain. If Zhong Jiaoyu is willing to double or even triple or quintuple the commission, would you still say what you just said? Why don't you go back to being the kind of person you said you were? Lai Wen's words seemed to make sense. You think you're not that kind of person. That's because you put benefits in the same position. If I give you 100, she will give you 100. Naturally, you won't be a fence-sitter. That's meaningless. Lai Wen continued, but if I give you 100, she gives you 300, and you give you 500, then why don't you go? If you don't go, I'll think there's something wrong with you. Su Yun didn't know what Lai Wen meant. But he also realized that if he was too involved with Zhong Jiuyu, once the other party gave a bargaining chip that exceeded Lai Wen's judgment, Su Yun must have ulterior motives if he didn't betray. Boss Lai, I don't want to be involved with her too much. Su Yun said, but you're right. If she can give me several times the commission, I will be tempted. After all, I'm human. Boss Lai shouldn't mind. Lai Wen said, of course I will mind because I brought you back. Then, should we sign a contract as soon as possible, or should I leave Yanjing and avoid the middle of September? Su Yun asked. Lai Wen thought to himself, what's the use of this contract? When people don't want to admit it, even the bank's account won't be paid, let alone their contract. It's meaningless. However, the second option was still acceptable, which was to let Su Yun leave Beijing. As long as Zhong Jiuyu couldn't see Su Yun, and Su Yun couldn't see Zhong Jiuyu, this matter would be much safer. Anyway, he had so many businesses all over the country. It was not like he had nowhere to go if he avoided Beijing. I think you really need to avoid it. Lai Wen nodded. Su Yun, although I said this, you can rest assured that the commission I will give you will definitely not be small. I believe that you will be satisfied. Since Boss Lai has this confidence, then why can't I trust you? Su Yun said, I don't want to see Miss Zheng, and I don't want to have any contact with the past. Lai Wen suddenly asked, but you haven't told me what the relationship between you and Zhong Jiuyu was like. Su Yun frowned. It was a mission. There was a terrorist who wanted to cause a terrorist incident at the university. They hid explosives in the lotus pond, and my mission was to remove these explosives. Su Yun really had no choice but to combine it with a mission he really did and replace the person who did the real incident with Zhong Jiuyu. At that time, Miss Zhong was flying a kite with a friend beside the lotus pond. Suddenly, there was an explosion in the lotus pond, and her kite was blown to the ground. Su Yun, at that time, she was about to rush up. I realized the danger and pushed her down. Sure enough, the explosion happened again. I was seriously injured in order to save her. I didn't know that the person I saved was Miss Zhong. I only found out when I saw the birthmark on her neck today. That's not a birthmark. That's a scar left by a Buddha pendant. Lai Wen said lightly. Su Yun was stunned. Buddha pendants can hurt people? Everyone in the antique circle knows about this. It's a bizarre incident that happened 10 years ago. Lai Wen said. Su Yun wanted to hear Lai Wen continue to talk about the bizarre incident, but Lai Wen didn't say anything else. People who didn't finish their sentences were the most annoying. Su Yun was speechless, but he couldn't ask more. He could only nod. Then how is Boss Lai going to arrange my affairs? Since she has promised to return the money, we don't need to ask more about this matter. Lai Wen said, the Zhong family still has some influence in Yanjing. It's not difficult to find someone. If you stay in Yanjing, you definitely won't be able to escape her search. Then where are we going? Su Yun asked. Lai Wen thought for a moment. Follow me back to Xionghu City. That's my territory. Hee. Even if Zhong and Jiu you want to find someone for me, it won't be that easy. Boss Lai, thank you for your trouble. Su Yun said. Lai Wen waved his hand. Since you don't want to have anything to do with your past life, then I'll give you a new life. Don't worry, as long as I'm here, you'll be the new Su Yun. Su Yun didn't say anything else. At this moment, his heart was surging with emotions. He could finally go to Xionghu City. Once he got there, he would finally have a chance to rescue Xia Qiuyu. We'll leave tonight. I'll arrange for someone to send us back. Have a good sleep on the way. Tomorrow, we'll be able to go back soon. Lai Wen said. Su Yun smiled. Okay. Didn't you want to see my collection? Coincidentally, most of my collection is in Xionghu City. Lai Wen smiled. That's my home. Don't think that I'm always in Yanjing. I don't have many connections in Yanjing. However, it's different when I return to Xionghu City. No one dares to not give me face. Su Yun added, with Boss Lai's wealth, even in Yanjing, no one dares to not give you face. Ha ha ha, you're wrong. Lai Wen said, what kind of place is Yanjing? It's full of hidden dragons and crouching tigers. Don't look at the Forbes list. What Bill Gates, what Carlos, what Buffett, what Amancio. They're all worth tens of billions of dollars. Even old Wang, who has so much money, barely made it into the top 20. However, do you know that Hua Xia is really rich? He won't let Forbes expose him. Su Yun believed this. When Hua Xia was fighting a tiger to kill a fly, how much property could he confiscate after defeating a tiger? How much would it add up? If the number was exposed, it would probably scare old guy to death. With my little money, I'm really not considered a big shot in Yanjing. Lai Wen was really self-aware. It'll be different when I return to Huxiong. Then let's go now. Su Yun couldn't wait. Lai Wen said, what's the rush? Let's eat first. I'll get someone to prepare and pick us up. If we leave Yanjing, we won't be able to eat such good food. Su Yun thought about it and agreed. Let's eat. After all, it wasn't his money that was spent. He would probably only have the chance to come to this kind of place once. When the matter was over, he would definitely apply to the higher-ups to arrange for someone to investigate the regulars who ate here. Obviously, the money in the hands of those who could accept such a price was definitely not clean. It definitely wasn't earned through hard work. Otherwise, no one would waste it like that. Chapter 30-29. After eating a sky-high price meal, Lai Wen and Su Yun left. Su Yun solved the matter so quickly, so Lai Wen naturally wanted to reward Su Yun. Although there was no heavenly earth in Yanjing City, there were still other entertainment venues. This kind of thing would never be cleaned up, just like the sauna in Dongguan. Even if the wildfire was extinguished, it would still be blown up by the spring breeze. In addition to heavenly earth, famous banquets, Beijing Huadu, and other places were all forced to close. It was impossible for the relevant departments not to know why these places were so popular. Unless the leaders were fools, they must understand the reason. Why they didn't control it at the beginning, everyone knew the reason. Why they suddenly checked again, everyone also knew the reason. It was just like how the urban management team smashed the peddlers' shops. The Peddlers Alliance in a certain section of the road would often contact the team leader to build their relationship, so the urban management team would not frequent the peddlers' shops. If there was no place for them to build their relationship, then the urban management team would check it out every 2 to 3 days. As long as the relationship was good, some places would always be prosperous. Lai Wen proposed to play, but Su Yun refused. When they went to the Sea Club in Africa, Su Yun refused Lai Wen once. Lai Wen thought that Su Yun was being reserved. Now that they were back in China, he should be able to let go. So even if Su Yun refused, Lai Wen still insisted on going to a nightclub called Forbidden Paradise. In the car, Lai Wen excitedly told Su Yun, now, Forbidden Paradise is definitely the best nightclub in Huaxia. Su Yun smiled, actually, I don't like nightlife very much. As a man, how can you not like nightlife? Lai Wen deliberately put on a straight face. Su Yun, do you not trust me as your boss enough? No. Su Yun, I just think that Boss Lai should pay attention to his body. I should pay attention to my body, but you don't need to. You are so young, and your body is so good. It is the time to go crazy. Su Yun smiled bitterly. If my body is emptied when I'm young, I'm worried that I'll suffer when I'm old. Lai Wen was startled for a moment before he burst into laughter. You're thinking too far ahead. When you're old, you'll naturally have your ways. There's a good saying, if you're not romantic, you'll be wasting your youth, right? You're still young, you should play. Seeing that Su Yun was still unmoved, Lai Wen continued, there's also a saying that goes, A person is not romantic only for the sake of poverty. Now that you're with me, you can have as much money as you want. Why don't you go and have fun? Ha ha ha, don't worry, I'll make you like it. Su-yun could only nod. I'll listen to Boss Lai. Su-yun, you might not know this, but there's a saying in Yenjing City. If you're not a foreigner, if you're not using public funds, or if your monthly salary is less than 50,000 yuan, and if no one invites you, don't come to Forbidden Paradise. Lai Wen said exaggeratedly, you can go to the relatively cheap Sunshine Club, number 8 Mansion, and other places. Su-yun just listened. Because Lai Wen was too interested in these things, once he started talking, he would talk non-stop. Do you know, it's normal to spend 80,000 to 100,000 yuan a night here. Lai Wen said, even so, if you don't make a reservation, you won't be able to line up on the weekend. More than 90% of people spend public money, they don't care how much money they spend. Besides, people who come here aren't here to eat or drink. If they can't find some fun, why would they drink beer that costs hundreds of yuan a bottle? Su-yun smiled. Of course, this is a place to find fun. Let me tell you, in Forbidden Paradise, it's ABC level. You'll know when you get there. Lai Wen continued, I'm a VIP here, they all know me. Su-yun smiled and didn't say anything. Lai Wen would probably apply for VIP status in places like this all over the world, because he liked it too much. The conditions of the K server here are quite good. In a word, beauties are like clouds. Lai Wen sighed. There are strict requirements for measurements, height, weight, and temperament. Wearing a bright pink short skirt, revealing long jade legs. Gold and silver shoes with diamonds are worth thousands. Wearing shoes, they're all 1.75 meters tall. They're all carrying small LV bags. You can't say that they're devastatingly beautiful, but they're like flowers and jade. Looking at Lai Wen's intoxicated appearance, Su-yun didn't know how to describe him. Do you know, when you walk through 2 rows of beauties, it feels like you're on the Walk of Stars. There are people on both sides of you who are giving you electricity. It's like walking on clouds. Sister Chang'e in the sky is just like this. Lai Wen's expression was still intoxicated. If you don't feel like you're being electrocuted, and if you don't have impulses in your lower body, then you're an otherworldly Tang Seng. Or you can go to the Beijing Andrology Hospital to see a doctor. Su-yun laughed dryly. The driver felt something from Lai Wen's words. That's nothing. I've long disdained the K server. Lai Wen's expression changed quickly. But do you know, things have to be tried level by level. Once you start eating the best, you won't be interested in eating the rest. Su-yun just nodded. I'm just like this. When eating watermelons, first eat the parts that aren't sweet, and leave the sweetest melon for last. Lai Wen pretended to be serious. Then Boss Lai's habit is too good. Su-yun knew that there was a type of person who liked this. The more they ate, the sweeter it became. Lai Wen laughed. When you're tired of the K server, you can go find Mississippi. That's what you call the real deal. At this time, Lai Wen's eyes lit up. The ladies in Forbidden Paradise aren't called ladies. They're called female guests. Barefoot, they're all 1.75 meters tall, their skin is white, and their clothes are fashionable without revealing anything. They're definitely not the ladies you imagine who wear heavy makeup, speak frivolously, and act dissolute. Su-yun had seen it before. The female guests in these high-end places did the same dirty things as the ladies, but they definitely didn't look the same. These female guests were all highly educated. They were all people with high standards and tastes. Only these kinds of people could arouse the interest of rich people and make them willing to spend money. The female guests in Forbidden Paradise are all registered. They can only be hired after being looked at by the general manager. They all have uniforms and work badges. Lai Wen said, but the price isn't cheap. But if you can spend a night with a beautiful woman, what's the point of spending a bit of money? Boss Lai must have visited this place a lot. Su-yun knew too much. Lai Wen laughed. Of course. I'm too familiar with this place. Su-yun, don't be so polite. Tell me, what kind of girls do you like? I'll introduce you. Su-yun smiled and shook his head. I really don't know what kind of taste I have. Then go pick. Lai-wen said. Su-yun continued to smile and didn't say anything. The driver carefully said, Boss, can I go with you to broaden my horizons? Lai-wen reached out and hit the back of his head. Sure. I'll find you a K-server. As long as you don't do it in the car, you can take her out to play. Tonight, Su-yun and I are going to spend the night in Forbidden Paradise. Regardless of whether Su-yun agreed or not, Lai-wen had already decided. The driver was overwhelmed with emotions and nodded repeatedly. The K-servers in this place cost at least 3,000 to 5,000 yuan. They were all girls that he couldn't flirt with. Of course, he wouldn't be polite when the boss treated him. Chapter 30. Even the driver couldn't take it anymore, but Su-yun was still indifferent. Lai-wen felt that he didn't really listen to what he said. Su-yun, do you really want to be an otherworldly Tang Seng? Lai-wen pursed his lips and said, Do you know, there is a 16-year-old student in the Forbidden Paradise, called Spider. 80,000 once can definitely make you fly. Su-yun grinned and laughed a few times. Boss Lai, if you provoke a minor, you will have to bear legal responsibility. Law. Ha ha ha, it's enough for me to pay. I don't need to bear legal responsibility. Lai-wen said heroically. I'm not interested in minors. Su-yun shook his head. Okay, then I'll find you the 3 sisters from Hong Kong and Macau. 120,000, I'll let you experience what it means to fly with many people. Lai-wen clapped his hands. How about it? Su-yun sighed. This guy must drag him down today. I'm afraid I can't take it. Then let the 2 beauties from the dance academy accompany you. They are the famous double-shot cannons in Yanjing City. Just those 2 beauties, even if their bodies are crippled, they can definitely let you make 2 consecutive double-shot cannons. Life is so good. Lai-wen wasn't satisfied. Su-yun waved his hand. Then this duo sounds even scarier than the 3 sisters. I'm still worried that I can't take it. If my body can take it, you're afraid that you can't take it? Lai-wen shook his head. You just know how to joke. There's no other way. I pay more attention to maintenance. Su-yun laughed dryly. Lai-wen clapped his hands. Okay. Then I'll give you the #1 golden hoop, Dottie, that I'm looking for today. Let me tell you, this is the tightest I've ever played with in my life. The title of #1 golden hoop in Beijing is not casually given, it's obvious to all. Su-yun looked at the lights outside the window and felt helpless. Once this person put all his thoughts on women, he wasn't far from being crippled. Lai-wen patted Su-yun. What are you thinking about? You're still not willing? Then go take a look. If you don't like it, I'll change the little water snake to serve you. I'll tie you to death. Boss Lai, we should leave Beijing as soon as possible. Su-yun said faintly. Are you really not worried that Miss Exine will find me? A woman like her wouldn't come to this kind of place to look for someone. Lai-wen waved his hand. It's just one night, it won't delay. After a pause, Lai-wen suddenly thought of something and grabbed Su-yun's arm. Su-yun was shocked by him. Actually, I have an even better suggestion. Let's find one together and let the famous double spear woman serve us. He. Lai-wen laughed very cheekily. Wouldn't we be closer like this? Su-yun sneered in his heart. F***ck off. Who knows if you're sick or not? Pervert. Damn pervert. The car turned a corner and they were about to reach their destination. Lai-wen's heart was surging with excitement. It's settled then. Do you want to look for a double-shot cannon or a double-shot gun woman? Choose one. Su-yun was speechless. He had no choice but to dodge the bullet first. Then let's go with a 2-shot gun, Boss Lai. I'm not that open-minded. I can't accept a 2-shot gun woman. Ha ha ha. Too young, too young. Lai-wen laughed loudly. The driver had already slowed down. He suddenly said in a sorrowful voice, "Something happened. Just an hour ago, many police cars sped to the entrance of the Forbidden Paradise nightclub. Dozens of policemen got out of the car and rushed into the nightclub. After showing their identification, they checked the private rooms one by one. The ladies who were singing and drinking in the private rooms were all brought to the nightclub lobby by the policemen for investigation. For a moment, the lobby was filled with young women wearing revealing clothes. Among them were the double-shot gunwoman and the three sisters from Hong Kong and Macau that Lai Wen mentioned. There were also the double-shot cannon and little water snake that he mentioned. The #1 golden hoop in Beijing naturally didn't escape the hands of the policemen. The sound of the police sirens had completely shocked the surroundings. When Lai Wan and the others arrived, the police were closing the net. Many guests and ladies were detained and brought back for interrogation. Through the car window, Lai Wan said with a shocked face, "How is this possible? The background here is so strong. How could it be investigated? Maybe the tiger behind him has already been killed by the disciplinary committee." Su Yun faintly smiled. "Boss Lai, it's better if you don't come to this kind of place in the future. It's easy to get into trouble. It doesn't matter to us guests. If we get caught, we'll just be fined some money." Lai Wen helplessly sighed. "It's a pity for my little golden hoop. I really miss her today." "Su Yun, if we really get caught, wouldn't it be even worse? At least it'll waste time." "Forget it. Seeing this today also made me lose the mood." Lai Wen shook his head. Let's go. The driver sighed with a bit of disappointment. His K server. It's over. He didn't know when the boss would show mercy again. Anyways, if he had to fork out 5,000 yuan to take the ladies out and spend over 1,000 yuan to get a room and eat, he definitely wouldn't be willing to do that. If he went back to the K server and asked for some tips, he wouldn't have a month's salary. "Are we really leaving?" The driver's words showed his unwillingness. Lai Wen slapped him on the back of the head again. "If you don't leave, where are you going? You fucking went to negotiate with the ladies in front of the policeman." The driver's face was sullen as he quickly turned the car around. "Boss, where are we going now? Why don't we change venues?" the driver said as he drove. It could be seen that this guy hadn't had a chance to vent for a long time, so he didn't want to miss such a good opportunity today. Lai Wen really wanted to slap him, but he didn't do it. Is there something wrong with your brain? Can't you see that something happened today? Even the Forbidden Paradise was checked. It must be AF*King inspection. Don't even think about going anywhere. Only then did the driver obediently stop thinking about it. Then where are we going? Boss. We're going back to Xionghu overnight. Where else can we go? Lai Wan was in a terrible mood and didn't want to say anything more. Su Yun bitterly smiled. Fortunately, it was a sudden inspection today. Otherwise, he really didn't know what would have happened. If he was really forced by Lai Wan to find the double gun woman, Su Yun would probably have a psychological shadow for the rest of his life. Going back to Xionghu is good. It's much less worrisome than Yanjing, Su Yun said lightly. Lai Wan helplessly shook his head. It's really much less worrisome. However, I still have millions of top-up in the Forbidden Paradise. If it's closed, wouldn't my money be wasted? Lai Wan felt very uncomfortable when he thought that the money was enough for the #1 golden hoop in Beijing to serve him more than 10 times. Boss Lai, just treat it as spending money to avoid disaster, Su Yun said. Maybe it's not a bad thing for you to close here. Lai Wan bitterly smiled. Avoid disaster? Avoid what disaster? I was thinking about something today and didn't want to take safety measures. Could it be that if I went in today, I would get sick? Su Yun couldn't wait to draw a line between him and Lai Wan. This old thing was too dirty. That's really possible. Su Yun nodded. Lai Wan waved his hand. Forget it. Even if you're right, spending money to avoid disaster. It's F*King bad luck. Let's go back to Xionghu and get rid of the bad luck. The driver immediately sped up. Yanjing was far enough from Yanjing to Xionghu. The driver drank a whole box of Red Bull along the way. Lai Wan was anxious, so the car didn't stop except for refueling, going to the toilet, and eating. Any normal person would feel terrible. To be able to maintain concentration after driving for such a long time, it would be a stroke of luck if nothing happened. Chapter 30-31. The one-day and two-night journey made the driver's eyes red. It was already the morning of the third day when they arrived at Huxiong. Lai Wan was also stiff in the car. Even if the Mercedes-Benz was so comfortable, sitting for 30 hours was definitely unbearable. On the contrary, Su Yun was well rested during the journey. Not only did he recover his physical strength, but he also recovered his energy. It could be said that he was full of spirit. He was much more energetic than when he just returned from Africa. It's good to be young. When Lai Wan saw Su Yun's state, he couldn't help but feel helpless about his ruined body. Alcohol, women, avarice, and temper made Lai Wan's body collapse early, so he couldn't withstand such a long period of turbulence and suffering. For Su Yun, it was time to enjoy rest and recuperation, but for Lai Wan, it was a kind of torture. After arriving at Xionghu, there was still more than 30 kilometers to Lai Wen's villa. He signaled the driver not to go home first. "Take us to the rice noodle shop in Yuhua district first. You know the place." The driver was also energized when he heard that. The rice noodle in that shop was very delicious. Now that he was hungry, he really needed to eat something. Lai Wan was a native of Huxiong, so he loved rice noodle very much. Some people said that Huxiong people's morning started with a bowl of rice noodle. This was really true. There were all kinds of rice noodle shops in the morning here. Xionghu rice noodle was a traditional Han snack in Xionghu. It was one of the favorite foods of the locals. Huxiong people like rice noodle, especially flat noodle, because flat noodle has an advantage over round noodle in that it's easier to add flavor. The rice noodle itself has no flavor. It's all seasoned by the soup. So the soup is the key to a bowl of rice noodle. Lai Wan was very emotional when talking about rice noodle. When he was poor, he couldn't even afford a bowl of rice noodle. Now that he came to Xionghu, the first thing he wanted to do was to treat Su Yun to a bowl of authentic rice noodle. And he thought the most authentic rice noodle shop in Yuhua district was the one in his opinion. The soup in that shop was definitely delicious. Su Yun, Boss Lai is very knowledgeable about rice noodle. Yes, I have special feelings for rice noodle. Lai Wan, if it wasn't for a bowl of rice noodle back then, I might have starved to death. Su Yun didn't answer. Lai Wan continued talking about the rice noodles. Do you know that rice noodles are not only important for the soup, but also for the size? We Huxiong people call the side dish that we put in the rice noodles as yazi. There are two kinds of yazi and stir-fried yazi. Yazi means that the rice noodles are prepared in advance. After the rice noodles are cooked, the rice noodles are directly covered with the prepared rice noodles. Stir-fry is a side dish that is cooked in a small pot at the last minute when the noodles are added. This way, the stir-fry will be fresh and taste better. It seems that even a bowl of rice vermicelli requires a lot of attention, Su Yun said. Of course. Lai Wan nodded. Generally, we usually eat shredded meat, hot and sour, crispy pepper, sauces, and mixed sauces. A bowl of rice noodles in Xionghu Lake was 2 ounces, which was the standard configuration. If you want more powder or more sizes, you have to tell the store owner that you want to choose lightly or heavily, or heavy and light when you buy the powder. Su Yun understood. Lighter means less powder, and heavy means more powder? That's right. Lai Wan smiled. Understanding people are understanding people. Some muddle-headed people don't understand what I'm saying at all. As they spoke, they had already arrived at the rice noodle shop in Yuhua district. At this time, many people were already eating breakfast. When Su Yun and the rest got out of the car and came to the shop, there were no more seats. Lai Wan gave the driver a look. The driver immediately took out 10,000 yuan from his bag and shouted arrogantly in the local language, "Are you done eating? If you are done, take a bill and leave. Our boss is in a good mood now. If he is in a bad mood later, you won't have this opportunity." Those who had to go out so early and still ate outside were usually people who worked hard and had a hard time earning money. Therefore, when they heard this, they quickly ate a few mouthfuls, got up, asked the driver for money, and left. Soon, the shop was empty. The owner of the rice noodle shop looked at the owner of the Mercedes-Benz and felt his hair stand on end. He didn't know how he had offended him. "Boss, don't worry. I'm not here to cause trouble." Laiwan smiled and motioned for the shop owner to clear a table. The shop owner hurriedly did as he was told. Laiwan gave the driver a look again. The driver took out another 10,000 yuan from his bag and handed it to the shop owner. "Bring me your best. I want to try everything." Laiwan said, "Do it well. This money is all yours. I won't let you lose money." Hearing this, the shop owner nodded vigorously and quickly served the rice noodles that he was good at. The breakfast made Laiwan feel emotional. He said that this was some kind of intangible cultural heritage. The driver was full and energetic. He followed Laiwan and got a cigarette. The three of them smoked and returned to the car. Laiwan was also more energetic. "Su Yun, Xionghu is not as developed as Beijing. Are you sure that if you follow me, you won't be tempted by the Zhong family?" "Boss Lai, since I came with you, I don't plan to go to the Zhong family." "Su Yun, my words are always a nail in the nail." Laiwan clapped his hands. "Good. That's exactly what I want. If Boss Lai still doesn't believe me, then I will leave now." "Just pretend that I didn't follow you," Su Yun said again. "Even so, I won't work for the Zhong family. I said that I don't want to have anything to do with the past." Don't. "I don't mean to doubt you," Laiwan said. "Look at you. Young people shouldn't be so impulsive." Su Yun didn't say anything. "Don't you want to see my collection? Come home with me now. I will take you to see my collection." Laiwan smiled and changed the topic. Su Yun also showed his loyalty. The two of them took what they wanted. The atmosphere in the car was happy. "Boss Lai, I heard that our Huxiang also opened a very powerful nightclub. The girls there are very good." The driver smiled and brought up the topic. He seemed to be hoping that the boss would invite him once. Laiwan didn't seem to be interested at all. "Do you want me to die early? What if I don't take care of my body?" The driver was confused. Was this what Boss Lai would say? It wasn't the same person at all. Laiwan's words also made Su Yun very surprised. He wasn't this kind of person in Yanjing. After coming back, he actually became uninterested in women? This was obviously unscientific. Laiwan looked at the curious Su Yun. "It's your behavior that affected me. I have been thinking about this problem on the way. I really should take good care of my body." Su Yun smiled. "Yes, it is indeed so. Su Yun, we will be a family in the future." Laiwan said affectionately, "I have a lot of things to learn from you as a brother. You must help me more." Su Yun knew what he was thinking, but it wasn't convenient to expose him. He could only agree. "Boss Lai, you can rest assured. Why are you still calling me boss? If you really treat me as a family, call me brother." Laiwan said, "Then I can feel at ease." Su Yun smiled in his heart. This guy really made him worry less. Originally, these things needed Su Yun to get close to him. He didn't expect him to get close to him now. "Brother Lai." Su Yun didn't stay silent this time. Laiwan heard and smiled. "Ha ha, good brother. In the future, half of my world will be yours." Chapter 30-32. At this moment, Laiwan was in a good mood. The feeling of returning to his hometown and Su Yun's imagination of the future made him feel a little smug. Laiwan's villa was located in the most beautiful suburb of Huxiang City. It was located on the north side of the lake under the blue sky and white clouds. 10 similar trees with similar height, branch points, and shape were planted on both sides of the villa's gate. Various flowers bloomed on the lower level, gracefully welcoming the return of their owner. Boss Lai's house is so stylish. Su Yun smiled slightly. I personally selected these trees from Chuan-du before moving them here. In order to preserve the full canopy planting, they were all transported here with a cart full of trees. Then, through the 360-degree panoramic view, I adjusted the planting angle. Every small detail was taken care of. Lai Wen was obviously very satisfied with his mansion. The driver also flattered at the right time. In order to create this kind of greenery, Boss will purchase trees from the same latitude areas across the country every year and ensure that the trees will be adapted to the environment in Boss's nursery for more than 2 years. Many rare flowers and trees have been moved here. Lai Wen laughed and was obviously very proud. On the east side of the villa's front yard, there was a large native camphor tree. At a glance, one could tell that the tree was close to 100 years old. At this time, Lai Wen's subordinates and servants in the villa came out to greet them. This camphor is really the finishing touch. Su Yun approved of Lai Wen's taste. A crane weighing 100 tons was used to move only 50 meters in 12 hours just to find the most beautiful viewpoint for this camphor tree. Lai Wen was not modest at all. At this time, the car door opened. Lai Wen's servants and subordinates shouted, "Hello, boss." After Lai Wen and Su Yun got out of the car, Lai Wen pointed at Su Yun. "This is my brother, Su Yun. Do you know? Let me tell you, he is working for me, but he is different from you. Be polite." "Hello, Mr. Su." Everyone shouted. Su Yun definitely received the treatment of a foreign guest. Outside the lush trees and flourishing flowers, there was a 6-level drop several meters high. Su Yun's eyes lit up. This decoration was really luxurious. "Ha ha ha, do you like it?" Lai Wen saw Su Yun's surprise. "In order to create this water landscape, I found the best landscape architect in the country. After making several designs, we finally settled on the design you see now. You must have put a lot of effort into this stone material, right?" Su Yun smiled. Lai Wen gave a thumbs up. Good eyesight. Just for the selection of stone materials, the designer had already selected more than 10 types of materials for comparison. They were all made on the spot to test the effects. In the end, I chose the volcanic rocks from Yunnan. Moreover, every piece of volcanic rock was handmade with mushroom flour. In order to ensure the effect of water splashing, I pieced them together from top to bottom. Boss Lai sure is generous. Su Yun sighed at this guy's extravagance. Do you know, in order to avoid any errors in the water scenery, dozens of people spent more than 10 days to strictly follow the design dimensions of the construction, just to present the most beautiful water scenery. Lai Wen said proudly, "How is it? Tell me, what do you think of this water scenery?" "It's too shocking," Su Yun said. Lai Wen was very satisfied. "Do you know why it's so shocking? It's because of the details." Lai Wen was most satisfied with his residence built in a place with good feng shui. He had never been stingy with his investment in gardens and buildings. In order to ensure the final effect, he made a 1-to-1 model from the villa's main door to the water bowl, a distance of tens of meters. He used it to speculate the effect on the spot. During the construction, the mirror shape of the central mirror water landscape was processed and polished by monolithic stone materials. During the laying, every stone material was constructed to ensure the effect of the mirror water flow. As for the ground stone materials on both sides of the central mirror water landscape, they had initially chosen Shandong yellow rust. However, after the laying was completed, Lai Wen felt that the effect did not meet the expected requirements. He simply knocked out all the paved areas and replaced them with golden hemp stone materials. Although the construction period was delayed, the result proved that the golden hemp stone now had a majestic feeling. "This is the place where I was born and raised. I want everything here to be perfect regardless of the cost." Lai Wen had always felt that this was the most beautiful thing he had done in his life. "I can see that Boss Lai really doesn't care about the cost." Su Yun nodded. "With this kind of effect, I'm afraid that you won't be able to find a private villa in Yanjing City that has the same specifications as yours." Lai Wen waved his hand. You're laughing at me. What kind of place is Yanjing City? I'm afraid that all the money I spent wouldn't even be able to buy a piece of land to build a villa in Yanjing City. Su Yun smiled slightly. The people in Yanjing City's villas might not be as rich as Boss Lai. The place where Boss Lai lives is called the Rich District. Ha ha ha, your words are too one-sided. Lai Wen said. This rich district can't be counted as one or two mansions. Yanjing's rich district is called temperament. I'm at most a nouveau riche. Su Yun thought that this nouveau riche was too extravagant. Actually, this rich district is quite interesting when it becomes popular. Lai Wen said. Look at today's Yanjing City. The rich all want to squeeze into the rich district for the sake of identity and face. Su Yun nodded. At the end of the last century, Yanjing people always liked to say a phrase called pretending to be rich. This was a group of people who got rich first during the reform and opening up. The rich first generation back then, and now there are many second and third generation rich fathers and grandfathers. It was because they gathered together that the rich district was created. Yes, they used mobile phones, drove cars, and lived in the Asian Games village. But they weren't really rich. Lai Wen said. At that time, the rich district was also far from the standard in terms of hardware and service. Most of the people who chose to live here just wanted to label themselves as rich. Su Yun smiled slightly. Boss Lai doesn't seem to like squeezing into the rich district. He opened up his own land in Xinjiang. Lai Wen waved his hand. Brother, do you think I'm rich? Of course. Su Yun said, with your wealth, you can easily afford to buy a house in Beverly Hills of the United States, Tokyo Bay in Japan, Repulse Bay in Hong Kong and Macau, Rose Bay in Sydney, Australia. These are all famous rich areas in the world. Ha ha ha. I like to hear that. Lai Wen laughed wildly. I can afford it, but I'm not as stupid as those rich people. They only look at the rich district, but they don't look at feng shui. Feng shui. That's the most important thing. The feng shui of some rich districts isn't as good as they boast. Su Yun looked around. The place that Lai Wen chose was obviously a rare place with good feng shui. Rich people know a little about feng shui, but most of them only know a little about it. Lai Wen said. There aren't many people who really understand the essence of feng shui. So, the location of some rich districts is enough to fool them. Speaking of this, Lai Wen was even more proud. But no one can fool me. Su Yun was well aware of his background. People in his line of work would definitely know about feng shui. If he didn't even know feng shui, he wouldn't be able to find the dragon's cave. Lai Wen's identity as a soil teacher couldn't be changed. This also made him very thorough in his study of feng shui. Although Lai Wen was no longer in the field, the things he learned were deeply engraved in his mind. They could be used forever. Lai Wen's eyes were filled with joy. Chapter 30-33. After the two of them wasted more than 10 minutes in the courtyard of the villa, they entered the villa under the crowd of people around them. The interior of the villa fully reflected the Chinese style. It was magnificent and luxurious. The tall space was large and deep. The carved beams and painted pillars were resplendent. The shape was symmetrical, the color was contrasting, and the expensive wood was everywhere. Patterns of dragons, phoenixes, tortoises, and lions could be seen everywhere. They were exquisitely carved and magnificent. To be honest, this gorgeous and expensive Chinese style of decoration was really not suitable for living. It was too gorgeous. Just look at the blue and white porcelain vases placed on Lai Wen's display shelf. It was estimated that they were worth at least hundreds of thousands. The solid carved wooden chair looked luxurious, but it was not as comfortable as the soft leather sofa. However, its temperament was particularly high profile. You can look around. Lai Wen said, I have something to deal with first. Lai Wen naturally had something to do when he came home. Su Yun nodded. He knew that he could not appear to be too anxious now. After Lai Wen left, Su Yun walked around the room casually. Because Lai Wen said that he could look around casually, no one dared to stop him. The servants in the house would respectfully bow and greet Su Yun when they saw him. This really made Su Yun feel quite uncomfortable. The feeling of being superior was not bad, but Lai Wen's overbearing attitude made the servants in his house tremble in fear, which made them feel embarrassed. Su Yun visited Lai Wen's study in a short while. The study was very stylish. There was a traditional Hua Xia landscape painting on the wall. There were also 2 calligraphy pieces. The bookcase and desk made of precious wood, as well as the extraordinary 4 treasures of the study, gave people a feeling of a different style. This kind of implicit style was only found in the Chinese style. The Chinese style made the whole space traditional with a hint of modernity, and modern with a touch of classicism. In this way, the rhythm was controlled by the aesthetic concept of blank space of the Orientals, showing the style of a great master. The number and content of the paintings on the wall were not many, but the artistic conception they created. It could be said that no matter how strong the west wind blew, the soothing artistic conception was always the unique feeling of the Orientals. Therefore, calligraphy was often the best way to achieve this kind of poetry. Lying on the lounge chair in the study, the story of Ran Chenyen flowed through his fingers. It was very touching. Su Yun spent about half an hour to basically tour the entire villa. He was very clear about what he was looking for. At the same time, Su Yun also knew that although Xia Qiuyu wouldn't suffer here, she definitely wouldn't have any freedom. Throughout the entire villa, there were still a few rooms that Su Yun did not enter. Because those rooms were all closed, it did not seem that convenient to enter. If Su Yun were to open the door and barge in, it would be impolite. Doing so might make Lai Wen feel very uncomfortable. Su Yun was very clear about this basic principle. After figuring out the layout of the villa, he couldn't make the owner of the villa feel uncomfortable. Su Yun needed to know how to handle things properly. Lai Wen's men and servants could be seen everywhere in the villa. Su Yun didn't believe that these people wouldn't keep an eye on his actions. Once he had any suspicions, someone would definitely inform Lai Wen immediately. He had just infiltrated the enemy's territory. Su Yun didn't want to make Lai Wen suspicious of him so quickly. Once Lai Wen was on guard, Su Yun's actions would be inconvenient to carry out. Therefore, after a general tour, Su Yun showed a kind of curiosity. After all, if he came here and didn't move, it would make people feel a little strange. When Su Yun returned to the living room and sat down, Lai Wen's servant quickly brought a pot of tea guanyin. Su Yun said thank you and tasted the tea alone. Later, cigars, cigarettes, betel nuts, and some things that Lai Wen usually enjoyed at home were also served one by one. Drinking a cup of tea and smoking a cigarette was something that Su Yun could enjoy. Cigars were also good. The smoke made people feel very sublime. As for betel nuts, as a northerner, Su Yun really couldn't stand it. He had always wondered why people in some places would eat this thing as chewing gum. Didn't they know that oral cancer patients like to chew betel nuts in these places? Therefore, the liking that this thing brought to people might not be good for their physical and mental health. Every time he saw someone chewing a betel nut after smoking a cigarette, Su Yun wanted to tell him not to play like this. It would be terrible if he really got oral cancer. After a pot of tea, about half an hour passed. Lai Wen finally appeared in Su Yun's field of vision. Seeing that Su Yun was still sitting in the living room, Lai Wen immediately turned hostile to the servant next to him. What else can you do? How long has it been? Haven't you cleaned up the room yet? If you clean it up, invite my brother in to rest. Are you going to let him sit here all the time? Lai Wen's servant didn't dare to breathe loudly. Lai Wen didn't say that he was going to prepare a guest room for Su Yun just now, nor did he say that Su Yun was going to stay here. How would they know? Boss Lai, don't be angry. I didn't let them go. Su Yun, I was waiting for you to come and ask you which room I can stay in. I want to choose it myself. Lai Wen was stunned. The Lai family's servants also looked at Su Yun gratefully. If you want to choose the room yourself, then just tell them and arrange for them to clean it for you. Lai Wen said, did they not listen to your arrangements? No, I didn't arrange it. I was afraid that if I chose the wrong room, it would be a taboo for you. Su Yun said. Lai Wen waved his hand. I don't have so many taboos. You can choose any of the rooms here. Find one that you like and let them take you to visit one by one. In the future, it will be your room forever. Su Yun smiled. Okay, then I won't stand on ceremony. If you are still standing on ceremony at home, then it will really make me unhappy. Lai Wen patted Su Yun's shoulder. Find a room and rest. I will also rest for a while. At noon, I will let you taste the most authentic Hunan cuisine. Su Yun nodded. Okay, then Boss Lai should also rest well. Soon, Su Yun chose a room with the most comfortable window view. From here, he could see the entire front yard and every movement on both sides. After the servant tidied up the room for Su Yun closed the door and took a shower. He didn't sleep. He had already slept enough in the car. After Lai Wen returned to his room, he fell asleep. The bumpy journey made him sore all over. He didn't have a good body like Su Yun, so he couldn't bear such a bumpy journey. Su Yun didn't go out of the room. He could basically calculate the structure of the villa in the room. In Lai Wen's house, there were more than a dozen servants, so he didn't need to worry too much. There were more than a dozen subordinates. There were people on duty at the door, in the courtyard, in the front and back. Obviously, there were living people monitoring the entire villa 24 hours a day. Just based on this, Su Yun was sure that Lai Wen's villa must have something priceless hidden in it. Otherwise, who would spend so much money to find people to guard it 24 hours a day? Just like those drug lords in movies, they needed someone to protect them 24 hours a day to sleep peacefully. The only difference was that Lai Wen's subordinates didn't have the prestige of those in Africa. They didn't have firearms in their hands. However, they were also equipped with strong offensive weapons such as electric batons. If someone really wanted to cause trouble, then they might not be able to gain anything. You're tuning in to the Narrate and Escape YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.